No? Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. It's working. Today is April 5th, 2016, and this is a regular meeting of the members of the New York State Liquor Authority. In attendance is Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Kim, General Counsel Flug, CEO Bryan, and myself, Acting Secretary Held. The next meeting dates are set for Tuesday, April 12th, which is next week, and then April 26th. The first meeting in May will be the 10th. All meetings are held in our New York City office with video conferencing available at our Buffalo and Albany locations. Items will be called in the order as they're signed in, first in Buffalo, then Albany, then here in New York City. When your matter has been called, please approach the podium and state your name clearly for the record. As a matter of courtesy, we do ask that you silence your cell phones. I'll go right to Buffalo. The first item is item 727. Oh, I'm going to have trouble with this name. A Moser's Tavern and Restaurant. Tongue twister first thing.
Good morning, members of the full board. My name is Jacob Kierkowski. I'm an attorney with Shaw & Shaw. I'm here joined by my client, Peter Dimfel, the owner of Moser's Tavern. We're here to ask for a reconsideration of the penalty regarding the sale to minor charge. We'll keep this very brief. I'll give a short recitation, and my client would like to speak a little bit as well, if that's okay. But this bar and restaurant was started in 1937 by Mr. Dimfel's grandfather, moved to his present location in 1948. In 1975, it was taken over by his parents, and that was the year that Mr. Dimfel started working there, and then he became the owner in 2003. But for this violation, there has been no other issue with serving minors or any sort of disturbance. There was an issue with some licensing of a patio in 2003, which was resolved. For these reasons, we're here to ask that a letter of warning be issued instead of the $2,500 fine for the sale to minors. Mr. Dimfel takes the charge very seriously. The bartender involved in this incident has been with him for 30 years. ATAP training has taken place, and Mr. Dimfel has had numerous meetings with his staff to discuss the issues involved with this. If I may, I'll allow Mr. Dimfel to speak here.
Good morning. I have been a part of Moser's Tavern for 42 years when my parents purchased it from my grandfather. We are a food-based business. Over 50% of our sales is in the food trade. And we have never been and never will be a business that caters to minors. I went as far as, in 2008, going to the local police department to see if there was something I could do to alleviate the problem of minors being served or fake identification. There wasn't much help that came from the police department, so I researched it myself, and I bought a unit that you could scan driver's licenses with. I used the unit for approximately a year. The unit cost me $1,000. It was a rechargeable, VariAge unit. And one of my servers had a son that was in college. And as we all know, there's a lot of fake college ID out there. I checked his college ID, and it showed that he was 21. So my $1,000 machine was literally a piece of trash. We have never catered to the minors. We never have catered to the minors. Our Monday to Thursday schedule is generally closed by 11 o'clock at night, and even though that we can be open till 4, even on the weekends we're closed as early as 1 or 2. I can't even begin to tell you in the last 42 years if there's even been a patrol car in front of our establishment. We run a clean business. We've had multiple employees come through the door over those 42 years, and that business has provided them college educations, homes, cars, health insurance coverage, you name it. And I'm not here to say that we were not guilty in serving a minor. I'm just asking for this to be dropped down to a warning if possible.
I mean, my issue. I'm sorry. Yeah, it is on. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I mean, my issue here is that the ID was shown to your bartender that stated that the agent was under 21, and he looked at the ID and sold it to him anyway.
Yes.
So
we
this
did.
isn't, you know, I realize the scanner's not working or whatever, but this wasn't even an issue with the scanner. He asked for the ID, got a valid ID, and sold it anyway.
You are correct. Yes. He misread
And
that.
and I recognize your 40-year history. I'm not disputing any of that. You clearly have run a very tight ship. I just don't know that we can give a letter of warning.
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way in that we really commend you for your good history. It's just in terms of fairness to others that have come before us, they've had long histories as well. And when there's a sale to minor, and there haven't been violations in the past 5 years, we'll lower it from the standard 3,000 to 2,500, which is what you've cited as what your proposed penalty would be. And so to go from 2,500 all the way down to letter of warning would be, I think, it's just a case of applying the same standards to all the people that come before us. I think that's the major issue. I think if, we do have discretion and given the history and what you've said today, I'd be willing to go lower. And again, this was, the particular facts of this case were that, as the chairman pointed out, the license was shown, he was 19, it said he was 19, it wasn't a fake ID, and the sale still was consummated. So to go to letter of warning, I think, would be very difficult. I would consider 1,500 maybe in this case.
I'll go with 1,500.
So 1,500.
I am left to accept that, but I would like to say that this business is, in our business, we eat, sleep, and breathe the fact that anything like this could happen at any time. And because we have never really had a problem with minors before, it has brought up a big talking point, and there has been some changes made as far as trying to get to my rear patio so that people have to come through the bar area so that we can make sure that we're checking. But, I mean, it's very difficult all the time to always check, and you're right, he did look at the identification, he didn't use the variage, he physically looked at it, and yes, he did misread the identification, you're right.
Chairman Bradley, Commissioner Kim, thank you for the offer. Is that still available for the ATAP reduction? Because the ATAP training has been done.
Yes, because he has nothing within 7 years.
Nothing else, right?
No, all he had was the extension of prom, and there was a,
It is eligible?
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yes.
yeah, so it is eligible, yes.
Okay, we'll accept that and send a letter confirming. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For your
Thank
time. Thank you.
Email wars. 831A, Dwayne Rowland.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is David Dezak. I'm representative. This is Dwayne Rowland. In regards to the premises that he is operating out of right now, he had absolutely does not know the landlord of the building, never met him before. He has only met him once, and the only time, he met him once. And the only time he has any type of correspondence is when he sends him the checks every month. That is the only time. So there was never any personal relationship or otherwise before he went and leased his premises.
He didn't work there previously either?
Oh, no, sir.
Okay.
And then, I mean, his personal, the applicant's personal licensing history,
Was just
He has a very good
gambling.
license.
just gambling back in 11?
That's with a total of 2 establishments and almost 15 years of having a license.
What's the rent?
How much is
1,300?
A month?
Yes.
Okay.
Why is the investment only 5,000 again?
It's a pre-existing location, so I don't know what he's not doing any renovations or anything.
Are you doing any work inside, or is it just as is?
It was a turnkey, totally.
Okay, all right. I mean, just based on the representation that the landlord is not involved because his license was canceled previously at this location, that's a condition to my approving this application.
I'll approve as well on the same condition.
Okay, good luck.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Is there anyone else in Buffalo?
There's no one else in Buffalo.
Thank you, Michelle. All right. Albany. Here we go. 819 Garcia Supermarket.
What are they laughing at? That nobody's left.
Yes, my name is Jose David Serrano. I'm talking from
Santo Gutierrez.
He's the owner for the business in 140 Knoll Street, Middletown, New York.
819.
Oh, 819. Oh. All right.
So, can you explain, your wife gave you her old store, you stopped selling alcohol when she gave it to you?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Did his wife give him the store?
Tu mujer te dio el negocio.
Sí.
Yes.
And did he stop selling alcohol when his wife gave him the store?
Tu paraste de vender alcohol cuando tu esposa te vendió el negocio.
Sí.
Yes.
And now you've moved the store.
He's the owner right now.
Did he move the store to a different location?
Oh, tu mudaste el local. Yes.
So Jackie, there's no charges here?
None that we haven't charged at this time.
I mean, it sounds like we don't have any.
Let me just pull it up.
I read through it and I'm okay with it going back.
Okay.
I think it was a big misunderstanding.
Okay.
All right. I'll grant the reconsideration.
I'll grant the reconsideration as well. Send it back to licensing.
You're good.
All right, you're all set.
También.
You're good. Licensing will contact you and let you know if there's any conditions or anything else they need.
Okay, that's it.
That's it?
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, 831C. Pragna.
I wish you all were that happy when I talk.
Now, is it us?
Yes, come on up.
Hello, my name's James Donardi. I own High Peaks Wine and Liquor in Saranac Lake.
My name is Paul Tatro. I own Saranac Lake Wine and Liquor in
I
Saranac.
believe this is opposition.
That's opposition, right?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Basically, it's a small town of 5,000 people population where this gentleman wants to put the store. It's basically 1 block from me, and I mean not country block. I mean it's a short distance from me and 2 blocks from him. And we have 4 stores within a mile and a half.
That would make 4 stores in a mile and a half if his application were to be approved.
Are you guys both open 12 months a year?
Yes.
sir.
Is the applicant there?
No, Chairman, he's not.
All right, I'm good then. Do you have any questions?
Just quickly.
I don't like putting the extra information.
When you say it's 1 short block, it's on the same street?
Yes, it's
Correct.
the main street. Yeah, we're all on the main street.
Correct. Again, that would be 4, if it was allowed, it would be 4 liquor stores. I measured it the other day, it would be 1.7 miles on the same street.
All right. Okay. Yeah, given the small population, the location of this proposed premises doesn't add any public convenience and advantage, so I vote to deny.
I vote to deny as well. I don't see any, one, the applicant's not here, so if we did have questions about what their public convenience and advantage would be, they can't really answer them. And I don't, based on the numbers of the other, the closeness of the other stores as well as their sales numbers, I don't see any public convenience or advantage either. So I vote to deny. All right, you're all set.
Thank you.
Are you all set in Albany?
Yes, we are, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. First one here. Hope you guys are all still happy. 816, Sibo Fair. Recon request.
It's a reconsideration request. Good morning, everyone. Robert Romano. I'm here with Benjamin Daly, the applicant. for Sibo
Mr.
Fair.
Romano, it was submitted by Tracy Jong,
She did the original application, and then,
but the reconsideration request was submitted by Tracy Jong.
This is
and then I followed up. I sent in a notice of
where
appearance.
the person sold the vehicle.
Yeah, I think we got a supplemental from him.
Yeah. The last page. Oh,
Yes, we
well,
did.
Should have I sent my letter?
March 29th, we have it.
Right, right.
Is this connected to another violation that we have today, where sale for off-premises consumption?
To our
Somebody
knowledge.
bought it and brought it over here?
Yes.
Yes, there is, right? Well,
Climate next door to us, yes.
you also owner of the other?
No. We are a brand-new establishment.
Because I noticed that the name SIBO on the other one where, I'm just trying to recall which case number that was.
Right,
What was the store they bought it from in that other case?
It's a, Microclimate is a wine bar.
What's it called?
Microclimate?
Microclimate.
Notice they were on the agenda.
You got it? What number is that? Oh, here it is, 774.
And our reason for disapproval was that same scenario.
So you have no connection to Microclimate?
No.
They're just your neighbors, and
right.
it was just an understanding or on their part, I guess, that they would bring.
There was no understanding on Mr. Daly's part. He had a no BYOB policy, which apparently was violated by his staff, by one member of the staff who was abruptly, she was terminated upon the revelation of this violation. He has since taken steps to assure that he would be 100% compliant. He's trained, the entire front of the house is ATAP trained now. There's a handbook which emphasizes compliance. He's reviewed the policies with the local sheriff's office. He's hired a new staff member who is a very experienced manager to just make sure that they would be 100% compliant. I mean, he understands that if you do grant this today, he would be under a microscope. He'd have a very short leash. Any violation would be dealt with strictly and quickly. He's lost tens of thousands of dollars already as a result of this. His business is on the brink of collapse. He's got a wife, children. He's got staff that are all being supported by this restaurant.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a common misunderstanding in that people in New York State believe that BYOB is legal, and it is only in very limited circumstances, correct? When they have a license, right. And you know, so, all right, given the circumstances, I'll grant the reconsideration, but I think just for the public, it's, they should really read up on that, because in general, BYOB is not going to be legal in New York State.
I'll grant the reconsideration as well. It goes back to licensing?
Yep.
Great. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very
Appreciate it.
kindly. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
747, 7905 Tavern Corp.
Last meeting of client for Cabaret, did they approve? Location at density 24 years.
Good morning, Stacy
morning.
Weiss, the licensee. This is a CNC for a $7,500. If you have any questions.
So my question is, the no dancing, community board was notified at the last meeting that you were applying for a cabaret license? Did they approve?
Well, what happened is they still are working on, with the architect, with the Department of Buildings, trying to get the Department of Buildings to change the C of O. The place had a cabaret license for forever, and what happened was when the owner put in for renovations a couple of years back, they had changed the C of O to eating and drinking without dancing. And however, his lease does state that he can change the C of O back to have dancing. And he's been working with the architect to put back dancing. We believe the architect, I don't want to say this, but there's some issues with the architect right now. He's currently trying to possibly get a new architect to work with to have the OB change, the certificate of occupancy changed, but he is working with somebody to do that. Once that is done, of course, we'll put an application in with the with alteration application with SLA and go to the community board.
Right,
But
so my main concern is that in 2014 June, no, in 2013 December, but we imposed a fine on 2014 June of $7,000, partly because there was dancing when he didn't have a cabaret license. And so I understand that the location previously had a cabaret license. It doesn't currently, and he's working to fix it.
Right.
But it's kind of this attitude of, well, you know, I'm still going to continue to do dancing until this whole process that should come through does come through. And, you know, that's just not acceptable, right? If you've got, if this were the first time, I'd be like, okay, let's move on. This is the second time in a year, knowing that you don't have the license yet.
Well, what he's done also is he did get, in the interim, he did get a place of assembly, which was something that he didn't have back then. So he got that. So he is moving forward. He's making positive steps. He's also, now what he's done is, not only has he put up the signs, but he's also reconfigured the inside of the place where he's moved his tables and chairs around to try to, you know, move everything towards the center of the room more so that it kind of looks more like, I don't know, filled up the middle of the room, shall we say. And he's also changed the music a little bit, where he's made the music a little less conducive to the dancing.
I understand, but at this point, obviously, it has a reputation as a dance place.
He's trying to change that a little bit till he gets his cabaret. So he's changed the mood, he's changed the configuration, he's trying to change that whole atmosphere so that until he gets his cabaret license, he's doing, you know, he's just doing those things to avoid people getting up and dancing. And he is still trying to, you know, he is stopping people from dancing, has the signs up.
Well, and my problem is also the fact that there were two charges here that were submitted. You're asking for a no contest plea, and then your letter indicates that he didn't do anything we charged him with.
I'm sorry.
We are denying the charges in your letter. You're not saying, you're saying that he.
I'm sorry.
That they're unfounded.
I'm sorry. May I just...
If the charges are unfounded, go to hearing.
No, give me 1 second.
You say in your paragraph, this is unfounded.
No, okay, may I just, give me 1 second. Where is that being said? I'm sorry.
I don't know that you need to read it, Ms. Weiss. I read it.
Okay, all right. Which charges?
Both. There's two charges you've indicated, and quote unquote, they're both unfounded.
Unfounded? Okay.
So was there dancing?
Yes, there was.
I'm talking to your client.
Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Yes. I don't know why that would say that. And I apologize for that.
Okay.
I don't know what to do. I mean, you're just going to continue to have dancing here, it seems.
Well, as I said, we are trying to, he has reconfigured. Go ahead, you tell him.
We move all the tables on the middle, so that it makes almost impossible to dance. And I'm there every night. And
you know how it was really impossible to dance? You turn the music off.
Yeah, they change the music to more romantic
How about you
music.
turn it off? I mean, I'm not going to give you $7,500. I'll counter with $10,000. It's because it's the second time. You got $7,500. You got $7,000 last time for the same charges.
I'll do $10,000, but you know, an inspector goes out. There's dancing.
I'm working
This
on
is the
getting
third time that. I know you're working on it, and your consultant wrote a letter saying, "Well, I have no idea how long this is going to take. As you know, it takes a long time." We understand it takes a long time, but you can't have dancing
You know what happens when I hire these people to get the cabaret license? They say, "Oh, it's no problem. It's."
No, we understand. We understand. I know. We understand what happens.
I have to, I think, change the people that is getting the cabaret license for me.
Well,
Because it kept telling me the same thing. Oh, yeah, it's no problem. Yeah, we're gonna go. We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it.
he's not the problem. The problem is you can't have dancing until you get the
I
cabaret
understand,
license.
I
So,
do understand.
all right, I'll take 10,000, but it was the last time.
Did you accept the 10,000?
Are you going to accept it? He'll accept it.
All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
762 Ground Cellars.
Okay with this, yeah.
Yep. I've actually seen it going up. It's nice.
It makes sense. It's like
It's right next to the market.
There's access on all three
Yeah.
levels.
Well, I don't know if he has access, but it's 3 levels. But it's literally right next to the market. Just, do we have any protest here?
This is the Grand Cellars Inc., 33 Grand Central Terminal.
This is just a change of ownership of a long-standing liquor store in Grand Central. The lease of the prior tenant expired. As you see from the letter from the MTA, they were required by state law to do a new RFP. My client won the RFP. Nothing is changing. It's a significant and important store to the
So,
MTA.
Mr. Booker, we're going to save you time and
us the
effort.
time.
We'll approve.
Approve.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Oh, this wasn't yours. You good there? Oh, I guess I'm, 760 Leaky Lounge. I'll swap it out. I think somebody signed him, so he's already set camp. Oh, what is it? It's the one underneath, 760 Leaky Lounge.
Leaky Lounge?
Yeah.
There's opposition.
Okay, you cut in front of somebody, but that's okay.
We have opposition. Thank
Do you
you.
want to give me those petitions
No, I got that, yeah.
I'll take it.
for the other one?
We're going to let the opposition, why don't you all come up to the microphone?
Is actually all the people from the community board who are in support.
Oh, they're all support, okay. And why don't you come up to the microphone anyway and put your name on the record? Oh, we do have opposition, I'm sorry. You come up.
Even on a, we would like to state our case before you hear
it's up to
opposition. It's not a
Commissioner
liquor
Kinnaman.
store. I think we need to
hear
set the
from him
stage
first,
with all
or
due
the-
respect.
I said, all right, it is in the liquor store, so we'll first hear from the applicant and then.
Okay, go
Then
ahead.
we'll hear from the opposition. I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
you could have a seat until we call you.
Thank you very much. This is Robert Bookman from Pazetsky and Bookman. With me is Aletha Stevens, who's the applicant. This situation, this case actually started 2 years ago when Ms. Stevens secured the lease for a location here on 608 East Fordham Road, a location that had previously had operated as a cabaret and had significant community problems. Her application was denied at that point by the Liquor Authority, and in your denial letter, dated April 30th, 2014, you said the following: the license board recommends that the applicant reach out to the community board to resolve any objections prior to reapplying under another license type. That's exactly what my client has done in the last year and a half, is follow your recommendation in that denial. She's worked closely with the community. She's worked closely with the community board to find out what it is that would be beneficial to the community at this location. And as a result of this last year and a half of working with them, this application was filed. It is not, it's a completely different application in that it is not a cabaret, even though the location is one of the few places in the Bronx that's zoned for cabaret. She's applying for a restaurant bar with 2 a.m. closing time. Does not fit into what was there before in any way, shape, or form. She will be open during the day, which the location previously had not been, for lunch and for dinner. She will be open on Sunday for brunch. She's worked closely with the neighborhood, and as a result, she's on the Police Precinct Council. You'll see in the packet she received an award, which I believe is Exhibit E from the Community Board for community service. She has the support of the Community Board and the community for this application. This is, in short, Commissioners, exactly the type of situation that I've often heard both of you discuss, that when there's a location that has had a history of problems, when it's been a late night 4 a.m. nightclub in an area, where there's a school nearby, what you folks want there is something different, something less than that, something that would be helpful to the community and supportive. And that's what we have here. We have a space that has a full kitchen already built out. That's what we intend to do. So rather than a 4 a.m. nightclub, this is a 2 a.m. restaurant bar with a good person as the operator, a person that has significant support, that has community board support. If converting problem locations into a non-problem location is not in the community interest, public interest, I'm not sure I understand what public interest means. Last I want to say before you hear directly from the community board is that the documents which I was provided through FOIL, that were submitted in opposition, clearly seem to be opposing an application that is not before you. The councilman's letter, right up front in the first paragraph, discusses he's in opposition to a new nightclub at this location. And that word is used 3 or 4 times throughout the course of his letter. I guess he was misinformed as to what this application is. It is not a nightclub. It is not a cabaret. It's not part of our method of operation. We have no intention of being a cabaret or a nightclub. So I think that and the petition signatures, all of which were implied that there was going to be another nightclub here, or that people weren't sure what was going to be here, but they apparently did not contact their own community board, need to be discounted because that's not what we have before you. They're opposing an application that is not before you based on fears of what had proper fear, but what had previously been at this location. This is just the type of application that I think the commissioners, you've always asked for in a problem location. I will also lastly point out, we have absolutely nothing to do with the prior people whatsoever. We are completely new individuals at this location.
Well, can you understand the police's reluctance?
I could understand the police's reluctance. If they, that they don't want another late night nightclub there. Absolutely.
Well, that appears to me not to be their only reluctance, which you have not even addressed.
Well, I think
Wasn't there a party in April of last year at this location that served alcohol that your client was part of?
We have been, in the last year and a half, we've had the space, we've rented it out, for private parties, and there was a private party. That's how we've been bringing some income in. We had a booking that night for a private party.
Was there a catering license or anything?
No, we generally don't have any alcohol, in the location. What was the
Generally, does that mean
It was a going away party. It was a BYOB situation. There are some people applied for one-day catering. This was not a situation where there was a one-day caterer's permit. Absolutely not. The individuals brought their own alcohol, as Commissioner Kim was just saying. They believe for a private function under BYOB they could. The police came that night. Summonses were issued. They were resolved in court. I think some of them were dismissed.
Inform them that they could when they rented the space?
No.
Was there any discussion of it?
Absolutely not, no.
What did she do when she saw them come in with it?
Wait, so what was her role in this?
We rent raw space out.
She rented the space out.
We've been renting out the space for private
She was
functions.
there, she rented the space out, people came in with alcohol.
In a
And here
private
in my
party.
report, I have a full stocked bar, which is a little bit different than BYOB.
No,
Okay,
that's not
fine,
what
so
was there.
alcohol was, do we agree that alcohol was present?
Yes.
And so then what did you do?
So it's the size of the place is pretty big. As I make my rounds through the location and notice that they were serving, at that point, I mean, the police had already come in before that. They came back a second time. Apparently, when they first came in, they told them to take the bottles that they had off of the table, and then they did that. They came back in and wrote summonses to the client that was there. They knew I was there. They spoke to me in length about the do's and don'ts. Made complete sense. I educated myself even more. I took the ATAP training of my own will. Just so that I'm in the know and well informed, and I did that back in January, I believe. So I was completely wrong. I'm not trying to make any excuses for that. We were not selling liquor. It was not a nightclub at all. There was about 40 people there, and it was being served to the guests. Absolutely.
There was confusion as to a private function when we're not serving it, buying it, or selling it, whether they could bring their own, and clearly that, after that, she spoke to me, and I told her even that situation should not be allowed, and it's never happened again since. And she's had the place for a year and a half now. There's been many private functions there.
On the question,
It was a BYOB screw-up for a
the
40-person private
The
party.
issue of the dancing, you say that she's electing not to do it. I have in my report that she won't be eligible to have it because the max occupancy is 400 at this premises, and you need at least 600 to get a cabaret license. So she wouldn't.
No, that's not true. That's not true. That's not true, Commissioner. You get a cabaret license with 74 people. There's just a category of liquor license, large nightclubs, 600 or more, but most.
Can we,
But we're not doing it.
yeah, no, I get it. I just want to hear, I want to let the opposition come up, and then I will talk to the community board, too.
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Rafael. I'm the district director for New York City Council Member Richie Torres. I'd like to clarify the letter that was submitted as written testimony to the board. I'm not sure if you have it there, but basically we put together a coalition of stakeholders in the neighborhood. Fordham University, which is directly across the street, the New York City Council member, the Belmont Business Improvement District, the Bronx Zoo, and the New York Botanical Garden. All of which are in opposition of a new establishment at this location. There have been a history of concerns at this address, formerly the Candy Lounge. Before that, Alumni Hall operated out of this building. It still has the same owner and the same broker, and we're concerned that another establishment is going to be put in place here that will be a detriment to the quality of life in the neighborhood. In the past, there have been stabbings, shootings, fistfights at this location, and it's been a real issue for people in the neighborhood.
Have you gone and listened to her presentation at the community board?
So there was no full community board vote or presentation on this issue. I have here a letter issued from the community board on December 18th to the State Liquor Authority in support of this application. That was before the land use committee of the community board met to review this application, and there's been no full community board vote on whether or not this application should be issued. The district manager, who is an employee of the board, has the authority to issue this letter, and she did so on December 18th, but there was no public forum for people to voice their concern about whether or not this establishment should be reopened. And I think if there had been, there would be a lot of opposition to a new establishment at this address.
But, I mean, the question I have is, have you or the councilman met with the applicant about her business model?
No.
Are you familiar with her business model?
Somewhat, but there hasn't been a lot of public information for us to access.
Well, this is all, I mean, the application is public.
Okay, but as it was recommended, by the board, the last time this application was denied, she was asked to reach out to the community board and get community support for such a thing, and there has been no community board public meeting to gauge support. I understand she also has a petition. I spoke to several community members yesterday at the local barber shop down the street who had signed on to the petition. They're not aware of what business was going to be opened at this address, nor do they live in the neighborhood. So I also call into question the petition that was created to show community support for this application.
Okay.
I'd also like to clarify on the second page of the letter, we said, I want to make a correction. The applicant came to the Community Board 6 in January of 2014 to get support for the SLA license. I wrote the board requested information. It was actually the Belmont BID, the local business improvement district, requested from the applicants then, what other nightclubs do you own? Are there any issues in the precincts with those nightclubs? They said yes. Then the application was denied. And when they come back again now, there are no other nightclubs. There's no other information. So we were hoping for a more transparent process of if there were any other nightclubs owned by Leaky Lounge or operated by the same owners, we would like to know about if there are problem locations, and there was no information provided. In the 2014 application, they informed the Belmont BID that they did.
So I'm not, maybe I'm just naive here,
But half, only half, so.
but aren't half of the appointees on the community board appointed by this council member?
No.
Are any of them?
Some, but not half.
Why is that? Because you share it with another council district?
And if there aren't a lot of applicants, if there aren't people that are seeking out joining the community board, we don't appoint them. We're not seeking out people. If people apply, then we can
But is
appoint
this pretty common practice in Community Board 6 in the Bronx where the district manager just unilaterally makes a decision?
Yep.
Well, how many of you are all on the community board? Can you just raise your hand?
But we need Community Board 6. Who's on Community Board 6? Okay. And you are too, okay. So we'd like to understand a little bit about the community board operations there, I guess.
I mean, I just find it hard to understand how a council member who has the ability to appoint a number of people to this board then accuses the board of not having a transparent process.
Well, this wasn't, it's not.
Maybe he should be getting more involved with the community board.
Yes, we could appoint more people, but we cannot appoint a district manager that would hold a public meeting, that would schedule the public meeting to allow for public discourse on this issue.
Right, so our challenge is that because this is a 500-foot rule, we have to take into consideration the community board's decision, recommendation, and so it's hard for us to determine this given that it seems like in most cases, community boards have the smaller committee that makes a recommendation, then the full board votes on it, and that's the recommendation of the community board. Here, you're saying that the small committee never met or met after this recommendation, but then what did the small committee decide?
You'd have to ask.
Okay, so we'll ask them. We'll ask them that, and then you're saying there was never a full board.
Right.
Okay.
The next full board meeting after the committee met was held in 608 East Fordham Road. So there was no board vote. They instead chose to hold it in the actual location.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how that. There was no public process for people to draw complaints.
Okay, can we hear from the next guy?
Good morning. I'm Phil Marino. I'm the Executive Director of the Belmont Business Improvement District. And I just want to state that in this neighborhood, we already have a problem of underage drinking with the college right down the block. We also do have a number of bars that are located within a block or two from this location. Also, I did meet with the applicant about 2 years ago, and we just discussed a really nice, friendly meeting. And I remember when she was leaving the meeting, she told me she was going to go to PD and go to the community, which is great. And I just asked her, I told her I couldn't support her, but if she brought me maybe something that her track record, something that I could look at, what I can bring to my board and to the community, which that was the last I ever heard from her. The other thing I want to state is that I noticed that the council says it's a bar dining area. Arthur Avenue is known for restaurants. The restaurants close between 10 and 11 o'clock. So that's their hours, So, if it was a straight bar, a restaurant, not a bar, I think, there's not going to be somebody walking around at 1 o'clock in the morning coming down there to go to a restaurant. They're known to be closed between 10 and 11 o'clock. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Frank Franz. I live around the corner from this location. I'm also on the executive board of the BID, and I am a member of Community Planning Board 6, although I have been out for some time on a medical leave, but I keep track of all the meetings and the minutes. I probably can't add more than what you have before you. I'd like to just highlight a few things. One, as was said, this is an area where there's many bars servicing the college students with chronic underage drinking. This one establishment would add more capacity than all the bars that are there already. Our police department, the 48th precinct, we have 5 sectors there. They're so short-staffed, they frequently have a hard time with providing a sector car in every district in the nighttime hours, and frequently they're all sitting on Fordham Road now because of the underage drinking and problem with the thousands of Fordham students that live in the community. They're all there every Saturday and Sunday, and usually I think it's either Tuesday or Thursday night, which is the night all the kids go out. When prior establishments were open at this location, the Candy Lounge and the Alumni Hall, and I understand that's not them, but prior establishments required the police there night and day, taking all of the services for the police department to one block on the northern end of the precinct, which is not really fair to the rest of the precinct. Besides that, getting to the point of this is a restaurant, as Phil Marino pointed out, all the restaurants are actually closed by 10 during the week. If I remember the application correctly, I believe the capacity, was it 300 around there?
No, it's more than that.
400. And I believe they said that the seating capacity is only 48. So I think it's unreasonable to think that a restaurant's going to have 48 people seated and 350 people standing around. They've also have advertised on their website in the past, parties, live music. that type of stuff. So I think it's unlikely that this place is just going to be a restaurant. As a member of Community Board 6, again, I could tell you that there was no full hearing on this. The board had never voted on it. I do know that the presentation was made to a committee. I don't believe a presentation is the same as a hearing where people come and submit testimony. I do not believe a committee could make a vote for the whole board, but just give a recommendation.
But did they vote, the small committee?
I was not at the small committee, so I don't
Do you know if do you have knowledge?
No, I'm sure that they could give you the information right now. But I know the majority of the community was not aware of this, could not come in and submit testimony, and considering this is
So
the
is this an
second application.
aberration that the district manager just went off and approved it without the full board committee?
There's been a plethora of places open and submitting liquor license in the community that we know nothing about. As a board member and as the former chairman of the BID, and I know a BID,
So it's a pretty common practice. It's not something that's
well,
very
it's something we've been complaining about for
Right,
years.
okay. Well,
too.
You know, the letter that we got, the chairperson of the community board was CC'd on it. So I'm assuming she received it as well.
The
letter we got from the
letter of
district
support.
manager.
All I could say is we did not have a hearing or vote on it. And considering, again, it's the reissuing of a liquor license that was already turned down amid rampant community opposition, you would think minimally this is the case that you want to have a hearing on to see if people's attitudes have changed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We can hear from the other people. All of you, why don't you all come up?
Good morning, members of the board. My name is Iveen Galarzer. I'm the district manager of Community Planning Board number 6. I sent in my testimony. I'm assuming that it was read. However, if you allow for me to read it, or if not, I could just touch upon the questions that you just...
Yeah, we read it. Can you just tell us what the process was that the applicant went through with your community board?
Certainly. So the Community Planning Board, and as you yourself stated, and if in the package there is a letter from my chairperson, which gives me the authority. And by the way, I'm there 21 years in July, and this is the first time that I come to State Liquor Authority on a situation like this. We are not in the habit of just supporting any liquor establishment in our community board. So the process is that 21 years this has been done. This is the first time that it has been questioned. The process is that I receive the liquor license application, and to my choosing, I give it to the police department, and they recommend. At this point, I sent, but it's something that we do as a courtesy. We talk with the deputy inspector and such. I sent the letter out. I discussed it with my chairperson, and I discussed it with my first vice chair, who you'll hear from in a minute. And so I sent the letter. Subsequently, I sent and I asked the deputy inspector to give a recommendation on this particular issue. He sent an email that he was opposed to the application, so I requested a meeting with him at that time. I said we should discuss this further. He did. He came to the office with his lieutenant in community affairs, and then at that point, I said, why are you opposing this? I think that this is a good venue for the Fordham area. We just rezoned the area about 3 years ago to include additional commercial and residential. It is the perfect, Fordham Road is dormant at night, except, of course, for the other
I
rowdy
need you to
bars.
stick to the process.
Okay, so so at that point, he said that he didn't trust the applicant. And I says, but why? And then his lieutenant chimed in and says, because last year
this is where I'm running into confusion. Why are you advocating for her with the police department?
Well, because this is a conversation that we have. I want to know, the community board has no complaints from the police department. We have no notices of violations, so we have no reason. We did all the research with all the agencies. Everybody said she's got no violations. So and she's involved in the community, and again, she's the secretary of the precinct council, and so that's why we were advocating for her. And again, we still feel that this is a good venue. So that's why that was done the way it was. Subsequently, in February, Ms. Stevens received an award for Black History Month. So I contacted the Borough President's office. I said, should I put this as an item on the agenda? And he said, well, if you do, it's going to kind of, look conflictive because she's getting an award. So we decided to leave it out. However, we had a committee meeting where we had numerous members attend, and and as you heard, Mr. Frank, who is a board member in absentia because he hasn't been to the board over a year and a half and has not communicated with us at all during this whole process. He's on a sick leave. However, he's out there getting signatures against this application, but has not given the community.
Can I direct you where I need you to
Sure,
go?
okay.
Did this ever go in front of the full board?
No, it
Did
has.
you ever have a public hearing in your
We
in your
usually
committee?
don't have public hearings, and I had that conversation with Mr. Marino, who testified earlier, unless, we let them know that there was a... There was a committee, yes, there was a...
And did she do a presentation in front of the committee?
Absolutely.
And was that
everybody-
public?
That's what I'm getting at.
Was that public?
Yes, and everybody, as a matter of fact...
Did they vote?
Mr. Frank, yes, they did. They voted for this
What was the
at the
vote?
committee. Well, I don't have that information with me, but I'd be very happy to email it to
So
you
it was
once
an
I get
official,
back.
it was an official vote. And then how come it
Usually,
never
that's
went?
what happens.
Yeah, so usually what happens, I served on a community board, and in
Absolutely, yeah.
my community board, the district manager didn't have a blanket blanche, just a carte blanche to write whatever approval they thought in their wisdom with the, consultation of the chairperson only. It went to a committee, PSQL in our case, and then we voted, and then it went before the full board, and then until it went to the full board, it wasn't officially a
So
community board.
that's why I
So I'm-
stated...
Right, so
after-
we're just trying to understand what happened, why was it never voted on in the full board committee?
Well, like I said, I spoke to the borough president's representative, and he said, well, don't put it as a motion because she's receiving an award, and at that time, it would have looked like we want the way we want the vote to go. So we didn't do it in February, and then the March meeting, and we sent out notices to everyone. We are going to have this meeting at the location so that everyone could come. If anyone has a concern, and again, I spoke to the borough president's rep, and I said to him, should I put it as a motion now? He says the letter has already gone to the State Liquor Authority. The letter, for all intended purposes, is it's valid, so if anybody has a question at that time, because you're having it at the location, they'll come. Not a soul came to the meeting. And it's right, as Mr. Franks, not even the councilman's representative, who is usually at all our meetings. He was not there. There was somebody else that they sent on his behalf. No one has
It was held at the location, and was there a vote taken? Why was there never a vote taken?
That's why, because the letter, as I explained again, Mr. Kim, with all due respect, also, I directed myself, and that is something that you can also find out through the borough president's office, that they said, well, you sent a letter. It's clear, you're going to have it at the location. If anybody has any questions, address them there. And that's what we did. We opened up the place so that the community at large could come.
So there was never a vote, but I still don't know.
Not a vote, no.
I mean, doesn't the community board the process of a community board, my understanding is that there has to be a full board vote. That's what the bylaws, I'm pretty
As
sure
you're
it says.
aware,
So if there was never a vote, there was never a official position of the community board. Isn't that correct?
That is totally correct.
Okay.
However, you also know that every board has their own policies.
Sure.
And have their own bylaws. So that's not necessarily the case. Now, again, our intent...
Well, is it your case or not your case? You don't need
I
to
don't
vote?
understand that question.
You're saying it's not necessarily the case. Do you need to vote to approve? Can I finish my question?
Sure.
Do you need to vote, or does the full community board need to vote to approve an application?
No.
So you have the authority just to write a letter and say we are in favor of it?
Absolutely. It has never happened. We have never, in the existence of 21 years at the board, we have followed the process where PD and the board are the ones that give the recommendation. Then I put it in my report every single month. These were the
Well, you said
applications
the PD and the
approved.
board. What board? You mean the chairperson? You said the PD and the board.
The PD and myself, in other
Yourself,
words.
so not the
yes.
board. Okay, you
Not
representing the board.
And then I put it in my report, because I have a full report every month, and I let the board members know, these are the locations that have been approved, and these are the locations that haven't been approved, and that's been consistent. This
No,
is
we
the
understand.
first time.
Okay, we're just, it's unusual case
Right, you know.
for us, because, the community, this is a 500-foot hearing, there was a 500-foot hearing conducted on this premises, and so that issue of whether the community board recommends it or not is important, and there were questions raised by the opposition of whether it was valid or not because of this, to me, unusual process, so we'll have to just take it from there. Can we hear from the other people,
If
please?
the board also, once we could bring it back, you have signatures from over half of the community board members.
right.
And I'd just like to reiterate that our council member, respectfully, we work with him very well. However, he hasn't been in the neighborhood that long. He doesn't know the history, and most of this history, the community board doesn't know about. If there were such histories as the shooting and the bands, we should have documentation from the police department. I found out about the violations that Ms. Stevens received the day I had the meeting with Inspector McCormack. I had no idea that I had called, I had spoke to Mr. Jones previously.
Had you already sent us a letter before you found out about the violations?
Yeah, I didn't know.
Okay, let me hear from the next people.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Good morning. My name is Sarah Nunez Mejia, and I'm the first vice chair of Community Board 6 for over a decade. And I would like to extend my support for 608 Essentials, aka Leaky Lounge, so that they're permitted to obtain a liquor license for the establishment. As a planning board, we encourage economic development, especially from women-owned minority businesses, as the Bronx is continuously growing and rebranding itself. Unfortunately, it feels like one person is motivated in stopping a minority from developing economically. I wish that they would take the effort in trying to close 5 existing sites, which are continuously getting violations for serving liquor to underage Fordham students. 608 Essentials, aka Leaky Lounge, wants to rent the site for parties, which would require a license from those that rent, require a license for those who rent the space, if I'm understanding the process correctly. Ms. Stevens, thus far, has been a good neighbor, collecting water for the Flint crisis, collecting clothes for domestic violence victims, and people looking for work. In closing, any support that we can give a company that is willing to make the Bronx their home should be afforded the opportunity to do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Maria Garcia. I'm just here to support the vote that I made.
Thank you.
And you're part of what community board?
Community Board 6.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes,
You're a member of the small committee?
I'm member of the Community Board.
But you said you voted to support the vote?
That I'm here to support the vote.
Oh, you mean us voting for the?
Yes.
Or your vote previously?
Oh, I'm here, I'm sorry. I'm here supporting them, and
Okay.
that we need a restaurant
Okay,
as well
thank you.
in the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Shaniqua Charles. I am a member of Community Board 7. I'm not here on Community Board 7's behalf. I'm here on my own behalf as a resident, a business owner, active person in the community, parent, so on and so forth, of the community where the lounge is to be located. Please consider this correspondence, I'm just going to read to you the letter. Please consider this correspondence as a letter of support for the proposed liquor license that is being applied for regarding Essentials Cuisine, aka Leaky Lounge, located at 608 Fordham Road, Bronx, New York. I've read the complaints that have been discussed about prior owners and the lack of professionalism and issues caused in the community. Something that strikes me as interesting is that in the prior owners have nothing to do with the current ownership. And after thorough review of the complaints made against the two prior establishments, have dissipated since the new owner, Ms. Stevens, has acquired the property. As a community resident, activist, and advocate, a business like Essentials Cuisine is imperative for our community. As per the company's executive summary, it is clear and evident that they have held true to their mission since inception. A very recent example is their willingness and commitment to the brothers and sisters that have been suffering in Flint, Michigan, where the owner, Ms. Stevens, opened the doors to the community, hosting an event that raised thousands in water to have hand-delivered to Flint, Michigan. Hosting an event that, also incorporated other activists in the community, such as My Son Lennon and others. Their efforts in the community is exactly what we need, and holding her accountable for issues that took place years before her arrival seem unfair. Upon further review of Ms. Stevens' business documents of operation, this family-style restaurant also seeks to increase community cultivation, have catering services, and to provide a space for philanthropic efforts in our neck of the woods, which is highly needed. As a person who organizes in the community for various issues stemming from tenants' rights, youth development, veterans issues, and so on, having a space in the community where the owner is more than willing and committed to hosting such events should be looked at as a very positive thing. Most oftentimes, I am seeking outside of my own community because we have a severe lack in our own neighborhood. The question that I pose today is simple. In the 2 years that Ms. Stevens has dedicated herself to the community via Precinct Council 48 and Community Board 6, and in all other areas, has the establishment caused occurrences of violence, noise complaints, traffic complaints? If the answer to that question is no, then I think it stands logical to reasoning that she is afforded the opportunity to expand her business, creating more opportunities in the neighborhood for job creation, civic engagement, a family atmosphere where the local residents can enjoy their own neighborhood and spark economic development within our own walls. Additionally, for all the years that I've known Ms. Stevens, she has demonstrated the utmost respect for herself, her family, and community. We're talking over 20 years of exemplary leadership and commitment that began for us in high school and has gone through college, family creation, business development, service in many areas of high need, from cancer associations to proud and effective parenting. I consider her to be a solid community partner who's trying to accomplish something that should not be this difficult given her level of competency. Being a member of Community Board 7, Executive Director of Miss Abby's Kids Incorporated, a youth development nonprofit organization serving the Northeast Bronx, President of Your Miracle Skin Incorporated, an all-natural skin care company, and integral party in the organization and development of the first Veterans Committee to be added to the city charter for the New York City Community Boards, serving on many communities across the city on various issues, you can clearly see that my interests in the community are very real and present, and at this time I truly believe that the licensure being requested should be granted. Let's just examine the facts at hand and have collaborative efforts to ensure that this business has everything it needs to run smoothly and be an asset to the community that it has the potential to be.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Rosa Peraza. I am first and foremost a resident of Community Board 6 my entire life. This is where I raised my family.
Miss, we have your letter here that we've read. Are you reading from your letter?
Correct.
Yeah, we have all that.
Okay.
So we understand that we understand your position with
And
this.
can you allow me to read it?
Go ahead.
Not only can you hear it, but as
Well, we're the only ones that are voting.
Oh, okay, but I like to
Go ahead, read
have
it.
this
Yes.
this
Go ahead,
say,
please,
because
read
I am here and I did take
No, please
my
read
time
it.
to do
Go
so,
ahead.
and I
Yes.
thank you for allowing me to do that. Okay? As I was saying, I'm extremely taken back. Here we are in the year 2016, after having dealt in the 1960s segregation without its right out blatant racism then, okay, where we fought for equality, not only to teach my
teach and model fairness, but to live with integrity, as it only benefits mankind for all to live for all generations. We find ourselves still having to fight this never-ending battle so that our present and future generations don't have to continue to feel segregated in their own communities. I ask that we be true leaders, and let it begin with us, that we promote the unification of our community, not going backwards with continued segregation. Ms. Aletha Stevens, owner of this establishment, 608 Essentials, has been an exemplary pillar of the community, as recently recognized by Community Board 6. She has thus far hosted many community-based and supported activities. I ask that this testimony is given serious consideration in arriving to the best possible decision that benefits the community as a united and diverse whole. And I thank you for taking the time to not only read it as you state you did, but hearing me out personally.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Just very briefly, clearly my client has done whatever she's supposed to do as an applicant in the last year and a half. I don't think there's any question about that. I don't think there's any question about.
She had alcohol in the location a year ago.
There was.
That's a big problem for me.
There was a BYOB.
I know, but don't tell me she did everything she's supposed to do. She did something she wasn't supposed to do.
Well, not 20 minutes before this, Commissioner Kim said there's much confusion about BYOB in the state of New York. I'm not so sure, quite frankly, that that was a violation of the law in a private function where people can't,
Well,
they're renting raw space.
There were summonses issued.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to them. I'm not going to ask.
They were all except for one was dismissed, and it was a $150 fine.
And then my
paid
next question is.
I'm not so sure. As I'm standing here, Commissioner, I'm not so sure that is that.
Commercial space that can hold over 20 people,
That-
you would need to have a license.
Well, but we didn't participate directly or indirectly in the alcohol. If I want to have
She
my
was
kid's
there,
birthday
so she was
party.
indirect.
Well,
but my next question.
on safety, she's never did it again.
My next question is, what did you put on any presentation at the 500-foot hearing?
No, we had community board support. We never go in as community board support.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
That's just my policy. The law requires community board support, and community supported the application.
The CEO Brian's comment?
No.
It's up to you to show that it's in the public interest, not just community board support.
No, I understand. We felt
I just wanted that. I understand. So.
This was a surprise to us, quite frankly. And listening to all of this, Commissioner Kim, is familiar with one of the most effective community boards in Manhattan. But there are 52 community boards. They obviously each have their different ways of doing things. I can't say I'm an expert on how each of the 52 operate. But there's many, in my experience now that there's more applications outside of Manhattan than a couple of neighborhoods in Brooklyn, I've seen that there is much more informal processes that are the processes of community boards. I think as we stand here today, given that you have a letter from the board chairperson, the vice chairperson was here, and a petition signed by more than half the members of the community board who are currently on the community board, plus the district manager of 21 years, who it's clear that she does not do anything outside the scope of her authority or outside the scope of how they generally operate, since her bosses, the chairman and the vice chairperson, are supporting. I think we have to accept that that's their process, and as far as 500-foot law is concerned, they support the application. They've said it loud and clear. I think the question for you is this an appropriate, is it in the public interest to replace a prior problem zone nightclub with something different?
Okay, so let's focus on that.
Let's
focus on that. So these interior photos, these actual kind of depictions of what the space
as is.
So where are the tables that will be a restaurant?
Well, they will be there. Those are as is. The location is a license. The location is a licensed cabaret. That's what it was zoned for. we obviously, if we're approved, we are putting in tables and chairs.
How many tables? It says 16 in your application.
16 tables, which will bring the occupancy, by the way, down quite a bit, because that C of O occupancy, which we quoted, is based on the cabaret layout, which is no tables and chairs. So the occupancy, ultimately, when we get a final PA with the tables and chairs, will come down, quite a bit.
To what?
I'm not an architect, I don't know, but there is a calculation for every X number of square foot taken up by a table and chair, it reduces overall occupancy by a certain number.
Plus, the thing is that the seating area only is 58 people, and currently it's 400 max. So I don't know what the calculation is either, but is it going to bring it down?
We could certainly add more tables and chairs. That's not a problem.
Look, if
That's not a problem.
I think it's clear that from our perspective, given the history, given the council members' opposition, given some community board opposition, given the police precinct's opposition, but on the other hand, giving, let's just say for the sake of argument, community board support officially, the main thing is if you're going to run a restaurant, and we'll set aside the BYOB issue for now. If you're going to run a restaurant and it's going to be a family-style restaurant, I think we're for having that kind of a place replace the nightclub, right? The question though is whether in this kind of a gigantic space and proposing 2 a.m. hours when the restaurants in that area that I've heard so far close at 10, 11, 12, if this is truly going to be a family-style restaurant, then would you consider closing at midnight? You would? Okay.
And I also point out that the 50-year-old Italian restaurants on Arthur Avenue may close at 10, 11 o'clock at night. Maybe that's why a few blocks over from that, there's a need for a different style restaurant open a little bit later.
May I?
Yeah, sure.
I'm on the main strip of Fordham Road. Little Italy is Arthur Avenue. It starts about a block behind me. So I'm on that main strip. I'm on the thoroughfare. Hence why I wanted my hours to be later. And because of the size of the space and the cost, obviously, to pay the bills of the place, I'd like the option to earn more revenue. But I am totally negotiable. Everything's negotiable for me. I've said this to my opposition as well.
We'd be willing, to accept, could we get 1 a.m. just on Friday and Saturdays?
So before we go into that, so you don't have any other lounges or restaurants
No,
that you...
I own a not-for-profit that I've owned
Okay.
since 2007.
And then this application that we have to the community board dated December 16, 2015, where it said patron dancing, this is outdated?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
but originally your model was to have dancing.
Originally, then we heard what we want per your instructions, and then we said, no, that's not
Because I
what they
think
want,
this
that's not what we'll do.
document was partly what caused, well, according to the councilman's letter, partly due to the opposition. Okay, so.
That's correct.
I mean, if we go restaurant.
We go restaurant.
What are we doing about?
Double the number of tables.
What are we doing about security, and what are we doing about the Fordham kids?
We will, let me do one step at a time. I think there's room there to perhaps even double the number of tables and chairs.
Okay, that's a good start.
We can close midnight during the weekend. If you would give us just 1 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays, I think there is a need for people to come at 11:30 to eat and be out of the place at 1 o'clock. I think that would help make the place successful.
Is the menu that we have the menu you're going to do, where basically it's just salad, French fries?
The most recent presentation we sent in last week had an updated menu.
Okay, so, but do you understand
It's a full
why
kitchen
from
menu.
the council member and the people who are opposing you, when they get information like this, where you submit a food menu, which doesn't look like a full-style restaurant menu?
At that time, we didn't have the equipment to do so.
Okay.
We built on it since then.
All right, so.
We're going to continue to build on the current menu.
So what's the security? Are you having security?
Yeah, I'm going to hire.
And
For nighttime, not during the day.
that's for every night? I'm just asking. I'm not telling.
We were planning on weekends when all these Fordham kids come out, because we don't want them in the place thinking they can
And
drink.
what is the underage, what are you going to do to protect yourself as far as the underage situation goes? Because you are across the street from Fordham.
I am, and I would card them.
There are 6,000 kids there, 4,000 of which are underage.
We're going to have servers at the tables and at the bar with ID scanners.
Scanners?
Yes. Yes. And, I don't know if we could afford this new one that I haven't seen yet, but that you folks have seen, but we want a comfort level in the community that what's here is not what was there.
Okay, what were you going to say?
No, we talked about what some of the scanners do, so don't be too reliant on the ID scanners, because what a lot of them do is just store information. They don't tell you whether or not that license is valid, so you
Right.
still have to do that really close examining.
I mean, the technology keeps improving as the fake IDs keep improving. I think, with those hours, it's a win-win. But of course, I would think.
Whatever you, go ahead, I'm ready.
Well, look, let's start from midnight, because I think there is sufficient community concern as represented by the council member and some of the other folks who spoke in the police precinct. I think, giving you the opportunity to prove that you are going to be different and you're going to be a restaurant, then I think that's a fair compromise in this particular case. And so I would vote to approve, but doubling the number of tables on the condition of doubling the number of tables and a midnight close. And then, after a year, you can prove to the community, and then you can also come back to us.
Great.
And we can consider some other alternatives for the hours. But I think you have to go in now and, demonstrate that what you recently submitted is actually going to be your plan, because the plans have changed a couple of times. And so that's my vote.
Thank you.
So I'm going to ask, have you met with the police department? I'm going to ask that you go meet with them again, to at least indicate to them what you're going to do to make sure what happened here before doesn't happen again, and also what you're going to do about underage drinking security. And I'll vote to approve under that condition as well as Commissioner Kim's conditions. The one thing I do, I mean, I don't know what your bylaws are in your community board, and this goes to the councilman as well, but we got zero input from the process that went on here. So I would suggest that you change something, because it was absolutely of no use to me. I don't know what Commissioner Kim thinks, but that's my take on it.
I guess for the record, I'll also add his stipulation.
No,
All right, good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good luck.
763, it's a request for declaratory ruling, operation of Hooch. Oh, they were yours too?
I'm involved.
Wonderful. You're next, Mr. Mailer.
Good morning. Robert Bookman. I'm just here basically to be master of ceremonies and introduce this application in my hat as counsel to the New York City Hospitality Alliance. The issue of third-party providers with applications that are approaching bars and restaurants in the city of New York is an issue of concern to the SLA and to our organization as well. We worked closely a few months ago with Council Flug on this very issue and issued an advisory to our members saying, be careful, make sure that what people are telling you out there is in fact legal, because you guys aren't, the third-party providers aren't the licensees, but my members who are signing up are. And I want to thank Council Flug for helping me craft exactly what the rules are, and what we should say. And so what we took from that is we put out an advisory that told people to be careful, and also made a suggestion, which was a bold suggestion, that don't sign up with anybody unless they have something prove to you that they've been to the liquor authority and the method of operation has been approved. These young men and this medium tall young man, came to us in my role after that and said, we have such an app, we want to work with the Hospitality Alliance and the SLA, we want to do it correct, tell us what to do. I said, hire a competent counsel, which they did, work with the SLA, and I think the president, and I've been CC'd and worked with them throughout. Right here.
No, the competent counsel.
Yeah, this guy, they hired a competent counsel. They don't hire me.
Bookman did not submit the
And
request.
I think
you did it.
And they've been working closely, I know, with your council, and I think what they lay out here, as far as I can tell, fits into all of the requirements. It's just what we're looking for, and it allows businesses that are looking to maximize revenue an opportunity to do so without violating any rules or regulations, and I thank them without them dipping into our pockets like some of these delivery services and other services do. So I leave it to them, but I wanted to compliment them and thank council.
Morning, Board. My name's Harry. Hi, Harry Callahan. I'm counsel for Hooch. We'd also like to thank the board. We'd like to thank specifically counsel's office, Jacqueline Flug, for helping work with us. She was very gracious to help go back and forth, and we hope that the petition as before you is compliant with SLA rules and laws, and we'll just open it up for questions. Also, I'd like to thank my co-counsel, Robert Bookman, as well, for advising us, and specifically applaud Chairman Bradley for creating the e-commerce task force. It's an important point of issue, and so we'll open up for questions. Thank you.
So you're charging $9.99 a month for membership to the consumer, correct?
That's correct.
And then do the licensees have to pay any fee or no?
The licensees do not pay a fee.
Well, the licensed premises do pay a $200 for 2,500 emails, impressions.
That's not part of the Hooch. This petition before you. That's not part of their business model. I don't believe that there's. Right.
It was part of the petition. That's how I knew about it.
Well, no. There is no sharing of revenue between the.
No, I understand that, but are the venues paying you anything?
The venues are not paying anything.
What
no.
about for
not in New York State?
Email impressions? $200 for 2,500 email impressions?
Yeah.
I didn't just make that up.
On page 2 of
Well,
your
she wrote
letter,
Right,
under
but she got it from
licensees,
some-
the value of this marketing is based on industry standards, CPM, for marketing services based on the amount of audience Hooch reaches. The basic level package includes 2,500 email impressions at $200 CPM, 10,000 in-app impressions.
That's the value of the marketing. That's the value of the trade. They're not actually paying that.
Oh.
It's just the value of the marketing service, the impressions that the customers, that the members of the Hooch app receive. That's the value of the marketing service. They don't actually pay that. We're just giving you a description of.
So how do you determine how many of these impressions they get?
I mean, that's a metric. That's just a calculation.
Oh,
based
okay.
on
So you're
averages.
showing, for example.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
But so then how do you determine, so everybody who's a community, so you become a community member if you're the customer, right? And
Correct.
you just pay. And then you have these participating bars, let's say. They sign up with you and they don't have to pay anything.
That's correct. And
Ever.
the value to them
The
is
value to them is the marketing that they get on your site.
Correct.
And
It's the
then-
social
so your
media
only
network.
source of revenue, and you're not running ads on this?
They're not.
So your only source of revenue is from the consumers who are paying $9.99 a month or $99 for the year?
That's correct.
Okay. And every bar that signs up with you gets equal listing? There's no preference, like kind of Google search, somebody goes up?
As to evenly.
Evenly? It'll be kind of in alphabetical order or some kind of? By distance proximity?
So we curate a list of recommended venues for people to explore.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, will there come a time when you try to give preference? Let's say I'm standing on 42nd and 5th and there are 3 venues and, on your app, you're going to give preference to certain bars because they pay you.
Distance-based.
It's purely distance-based.
We don't have a model in our business.
Now, how do you, and so they're getting a drink, technically they're getting 2 drinks for half price, but the second drink is free.
That's correct.
Who's paying for that? The venue or you guys?
The venue is providing the drink, so it's basically 2 drinks each at half price, so it's 2 for the price of 1.
So the discount, they're eating the discount?
Correct, yes.
It's a coupon redemption.
All right,
So in the app, there's a screen that the server will then mark that it's been redeemed that day. And there is no money that goes through the app to the licensee. No consumer funds travel between. The consumer pays the license premise.
And it's 1 redemption per day per customer? Or can they go to?
Per day.
Per day?
No matter, only 1 location then?
1 location?
The whole point was to bring customers to.
To that location,
mean,
instead
for
of them
folks-
hopping around.
Yeah. For full disclosure, the app was first rolled out as one free drink.
Right, I saw that.
And then it was altered in order to be in compliance, which
That's
was
correct.
very appreciated.
That's correct. As soon as council's office contacted them, the licensees were actually contacted first. The licensees contacted the business owners, and then they retained counsel, and we got in touch with council.
I think if there's a substantial change in your business model, you'll come back to us.
Absolutely.
I assume. Okay. All right. I don't think it violates ABCL laws as it exists, so I'll vote to approve.
I'll vote to approve as well.
And that is because there's no financial interest of the applicant in the licensed premise, no control being exerted, no selection of product.
Correct.
Setting, yes.
Correct. All right. Good luck.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you guys for listening.
You too.
All right. These are three items, 792, 793, and 794. Dutchess County and Ulster County C licensees.
Martin Miller, Martin Miller, Miller Buscemi. This is on, I think now for the third time. It was sent, it was put over last time because the chairman had a question about some
No, whether the daughter was also a license holder.
Can I just try to explain?
Well, she is.
No, that's what. Let me just. Currently there are 3 C licenses that are in the name of the mother.
Right.
There is a daughter. Her name is Sukhwinder Kaur. There is a daughter-in-law by the name of Parvinder Kaur, and she's the wife of a Harry Singh, who's the brother. When this all started, and it's still in place, we've agreed that Harry Singh and Parvinder Kaur, if you at least allow us one of the licenses, will have nothing to do with that business, and the daughter, Sukhwinder Kaur, would be the only one that would be running, the one that would remain, because the last suggestion made was one would be canceled, one would be sold, and one would be allowed to remain.
Well, that was, I don't know that we ever got that. I know that was a discussion, but I don't know that we ever agreed to that.
No, you didn't agree to anything.
But my problem was, and still is that Sukhwinder Kaur is a licensee. She owns grocery stores or something similar, correct?
To my knowledge, no, but I'd have to check. You see?
Pardon me?
The daughter-in-law.
No, Parvinder.
Oh, Parvinder owns
And
it.
the problem here is, well, it's not a problem. The Sikh religion all take the same last name. The men take the name Singh, and the women take the name Kaur. So that might lead everyone to believe that they're all related by blood. They're not.
But Mr. Mallor, there are open investigations that the authority has for the same concerns on these supermarket licenses.
Okay, but that, in a sense, is an argument.
It's a separate matter. I'm just saying, I believe, I was
So
not
what do
here the
we-
last board meeting.
Well, my
I was told
concern,
it was adjourned.
and that's why I adjourned it, because as a licensee herself, and you're right, it is Parvinder.
Parvinder, and she's
Kaur,
not.
But as a licensee herself, she's also, or should be, aware of the obligations. And what went on here is just
I'm not going
unprecedented since I've been here.
I'm not going to argue with what went on. I am going to tell you that Parvinder Kaur and Harry Singh will not have anything to do with the one remaining license, if in fact you would agree to allow at least one to remain. And again,
that's why I asked, because I have problems allowing one to remain. I guess that's where I'm stuck.
All right, well,
given what went on here.
If I may just say this, there's an availing, or for purposes of this conversation, there was an availing going on, but it wasn't done with the same intent that an availing normally has to do with, namely that somebody that is some unsavory character decides to allow someone else to in name only, run something or have the license, where in fact the unsavory character is the one that really is in charge. Here you have a situation of a family where the mother, according to them, is the owner, not according to the way the authority believes this to be, and I'm not going to argue that their interpretation is the correct one and yours is not. But the bottom line here is that this is a family-run business. The mother will no longer have anything to do with it. The brother will have nothing to do with it, and the sister-in-law will have nothing to do with it. The only one that will remain just for one store, the other two will be disposed of either by sale or by cancellation, will be Sukhwinder Kaur, who will not allow the brother nor the sister-in-law to have anything to do with the premises.
But what's the sister-in-law going to do with her licenses?
That, as Council just pointed out, is a separate issue, which you can deal, I mean, the authority
We're
can deal with the
investigating
sister-in-law in
and
any way she wants.
We'll be
you
issuing
want.
a notice of pleading at some point.
But that will have nothing, she will have nothing to do with the remaining C license. I mean, one of the things I suggested last week was just the sale of all three, but that didn't, apparently that didn't play well with Commissioner Kim.
Is that better, maybe?
No, I don't know if it is, because one, I don't know that they should be benefiting in any way from what went on, and two,
but
the length of time that will take, given that they are C licenses and people aren't lining up for them, I just don't know that I'm willing to wait.
All right, then put a time limit of 2-3 months on this thing. Otherwise, it would have to be readdressed. I'm not looking for an open-ended thing myself. And in terms of benefiting from this, you're going to impose fines. So they're not going to see much of anything here. It's just that they're just trying to, all right, do it whichever way you want. 1-1-1, sale of all three. And there are fines. No one's saying there's not going to be fines here. But if you want them out of the business entirely, put a time limit on how long they'd have to get rid of the business.
What was the recommendation, if you had any?
This was what the assigned attorney and myself listened to Mr. Mailer, and we said we would put forth to the board the original. Then you countered with the sale of 2 and the cancellation of 1.
They were to keep 3 and the fine was...
No, it was cancellation and 2 fines.
Yeah, 1 cancellation and 2 fines.
And 1 to be sold.
Okay.
Commissioner Kim countered with fines on 2, 2 to be sold, cancellation on 1.
Yeah, it wasn't a vote, though.
Well, it was 1-1-1. Is what
1-1-1, right?
Yeah,
One
right.
cancellation,
One sold, one canceled,
and one fine.
and one.
I think that's what my.
Yeah, that was, yes.
My recollection was that you wanted 2 sold, but
I suppose, I mean, that, I don't know that one, but I can live with that one as well, I suppose.
You're okay with 1 canceled, 2 sold?
At this point, I would say yes, if that would satisfy this commission. But I again, please.
Cancel, 2 sold. 1 canceled, 2 sold, arm's length transaction, obviously.
Of course, having the people that are taking
With
over.
a time limit.
Okay.
No fine?
Keeping until such time as they're
Yeah,
sold.
and no fine.
The license on deposit for safekeeping until such time as they're sold.
That's good, too.
All three, but I mean, they have to pay rent during the time that they're looking to sell. You'll have
She's
you'll have
got,
the
she's
cancellation
got
of
grocery store. What were they? Grocery stores, Jackie?
Yeah, I think grocery stores and maybe a liquor store.
You mean this one with Parvinder? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, let me see what
So
we got.
cancel, 2 sold, 2 sales, safekeeping with a definitive time of 3 months.
are we canceling Wingdale Beer and Soda on Route 22? Is that the
I'm
license?
sorry, which one?
That was,
Wingdale Beer and Soda.
that's
on Route-
item
I thought the one
794.
Linkdale.
That's the one that has the adverse history.
Yeah, all the sales to minors.
Right, is that the license we're
I thought the one that's being was the one that was THPRG. That's the one that, for some reason, that's the one that I believe you have the most information on.
But given where it is, it's probably also the one that's most likely to be sold, so, or most easily sold.
Well, can I just, I mean, before I commit to Harry being the one sold as opposed to one of the other, can we have one more time at this so that I can, what would you want? You'd want.
All right, so what's the counter you just
Can you
gave?
call your client in
1
the hall?
cancel, 2 sold.
The one that
These are all good
doesn't
ones.
speak
Put it
English,
into
the one that's the
3
mother.
months.
Is-
Two in safekeeping?
Again.
Yeah.
Okay. So 1 canceled, 2 sold, both in safekeeping, 3 months.
But the
You
one
can go
being
back.
canceled is Wingdale Beer and Soda?
That would be my recommendation. If you
yeah,
come
because
back
of
and
the
give me a reason they don't want that one, then I'll listen to
All
you.
right, I will come back. Give me one more week, well.
The 12th then?
I guess so, although I do have, well, yeah, I'll come late. I have a court appearance, but I'll come late. All right, thank you.
Yep.
Oh, wait, I have
These
two.
on for next week, 4/12?
Yes. What's this, Jackie? Do I have to vote?
No, you can just give a stay.
But What's next?
I actually did.
Oh, just here, let me just sign it.
ENY?
We good? 748 DNY Liquor Store.
Letter of warning?
Yes.
I'll accept.
I'll accept.
Thank you.
722 Safari Beach Club.
This is my partner's client. He saw it on the agenda. He's not looking to have it reopened. He'd just like to hear what the determination will be. Apparently, it's a late filing, a late notification, I think, to the community board.
Yeah, it's their second one.
I'm not going to advocate one way or the other. I just want to know what.
All right, 1,000.
1,000.
Thank you very much.
780 Lieb Cellars.
Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Kim. My name is Nicholas Bergman from Buckman Law Firm.
Hi.
Hello. With me today, I have Richard Bailey representing Lieb Cellars. And the offer before you is a settlement for price posting discrepancies as well as failure to report COD under the wholesale wine license that Lieb Cellars used to maintain, no longer is active.
The license they currently still maintain is a farm winery license.
Correct. They operate as a farm winery. And just in support of our offer, so a civil penalty of $90,000. In mitigation, immediate action was taken once Mr. Bailey was brought to the company a couple years ago. These violations occurred 2012, 2013.
Right, so, my only problem with this offer is it appears to give them a level, I mean, this investigation, as you said, or at least the violations are 2012, 2013, and it appears to give them immunity from that period until the date of this letter for anything else that may have occurred, which we may or may not be aware of. That's not going to happen.
We understand.
Okay.
In the past,
And I'm not saying there is anything we are aware of, but I'm not going to sign off on that unless he goes in a grand jury and starts testifying.
To the extent we have discussed that in the past with other price posting discrepancy cases, so we continue to follow that approach.
Okay. I mean, I'll certainly, I don't have a problem with what you offered for these charges, but just that's all this applies to is these charges, if you can live with that.
I assume so, because the issues were corrected back in the day when Mr. Bailey came.
And I will tell you that I'm not aware of any other pending charges, so.
There are no other pending charges.
All right, I'll agree.
I'll agree then under that condition.
It's just limited to the offer only, none of the other.
It's just limited to the 4 charges and the $90,000. All right?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. 782 through 784 Malibu Restaurant.
Good morning, Board. Mark Cody and Associates by Louis Chisari for the licensee. I believe this matter may be moot. No, sit there for a second. I believe the appellate division has denied our motion for leave to appeal a prior determination of the board, and I'm not sure yet, maybe Ms. Flew can help me. I don't know if Judge Gonzalez in Brooklyn has ruled yet or not on our Article 78 there.
The last ruling we had was that your stay was denied.
Was denied, but then I believe there's...
So this doesn't make this moot. The members are still here to impose a penalty today.
I understand that. At this point, though, if the Article 78 is denied, the license is revoked. This would be double revoking, kind of like double secret probation at this point. If maybe the board would like to hold us in abeyance until Judge Gonzalez's decision comes down.
I would strongly advise against that. This licensee has 2 licenses that we've been in litigation with for probably 8 months, if not longer, and they filed 3, if not 4, separate Article 78s relating to these. 2. Well, then you filed with the appellate division, asking the appellate division to take the case from Supreme Court.
Right.
Which they're allowed to do. But that doesn't change what happened here, correct?
No, we're here to impose a penalty.
I'm saying at this point, I'm just saying if the, maybe to forestall any potential future litigation, not that I'm seeing it.
I have a
hold this-
whole room of lawyers.
No,
That's
no,
all
I
they're-
understand.
That's all they're going to do. I'm not really worried
Represent
about potential
abeyance until-
litigation.
Just hold this one in abeyance until Judge Gonzalez rules on the previous Article 78.
I'm not, I don't know.
I'm not going to do it either.
Okay.
So revoke and bond?
Yeah, I have revoke and bond as well.
Thank
I
you.
believe the bond's
you.
already.
The bond may be
Bond's gone.
problematic if it's not available. then
Okay.
we'll Put it in.
I believe, yeah, the bond was forfeited
Probably
on
was
the
already
last.
taken at the other.
Yes.
787 and 788. It's 355 West 41st.
For the licensee, Marconi and Associates by Louis Chisari. I also have the licensee with me, Dave Sheeran.
So, Mr. Shearing, you have stipulations with the police department and you don't
Yes, I do.
follow them?
If I,
I do follow them.
If I may, Your Honor, this was an issue with a scanner not working. We had presented evidence at the hearing that the scanner itself, the software in the phones, because the bartenders have it in the phone, was not working at the time. It has been rectified. Also, I'd like the board to know, I've spoken to Midtown South, the Special Operations Officer, Lieutenant. I have a meeting with him scheduled for the 11th to sit down and come up with a plan of action for both these establishments. It's also Dave's Tavern, which is on the agenda for next, to work with the community. Unfortunately, my client was subject to a unscrupulous security company for 2 years prior that wasn't even actually a legitimate security company. We had learned that, unfortunately, during, I believe it was a March operation, it may have been some other operation by Midtown South, that they weren't actually properly licensed. In fact, they didn't exist. We've rectified that with a new security company and new procedures put in place, and I am sitting with Mr. Sheeran with Midtown South to work out a plan to make everybody happy and make the places more suitable for the neighborhood.
What about the food issue?
The food issue, since I have come on, Mr. Race is retiring, and I've come on to try to take on his practice. He's my father-in-law, and I have sat and counseled Mr. Sheeran, and we have worked to bring in food now. We have hot dogs. We have fryers getting they've been installed in one. I believe they're being installed in the other to give bar food to
This
rectify
is from
that.
2014, and you're saying he's installing it now?
Well, one has been installed again. I am coming in. Yeah,
Well, he's
and
right here next to you, right? You can,
Right, no,
you can
we're
ask him.
trying to.
What's been going on with the food,
I
sir?
can't hear too good, sir.
What's going
The
on?
food? You don't have food on the premises? Okay.
I have chicken wings. I didn't.
Do you have a fryer? Do you have a fryer?
Yes, I do.
Okay, it's operating currently? Okay.
It's been operating.
All right, so, and the scanner issue has been resolved, you're
Has
telling me?
been absolutely totally resolved, and in fact, the stipulation with the NYPD has expired at this point. That's why we've approached Midtown South to work into another agreement, so we don't have these repeated issues, and we're not here in front of you, Your Honors.
Well, and you know, he's had his 3 sales to minors, and the next one.
Yes,
All
Your
right,
Honor.
so as long as you understand.
No, he's
That
got
fell
4.
He's
under
got 4?
the-
You got 4 sales to minor.
Yes, and that fell
Oh.
under that time. One is,
Where's the 4th
in,
one?
I think, believe 2010. The others fell in that time period when they had a horrible security
see what
company.
one
I'm not taking
renewals
anything
said
off
lately.
the licensee,
know,
and that is ultimately his responsibility. Unfortunately, he had a very poor security company who we learned subsequently wasn't even licensed.
But I just want him to understand that the next one, it's probably over for him. Do you know that?
I realize that. But can I say something, Your Honor?
Yes.
These two, I'm right outside the Port Authority, and I put 10 to 12 hours a day in those bars, back and forth. And my main concern is the
Back in 2000.
bad people that are coming in. So I look around, and there's nobody underage in my places. My places are all 35, 40 years old.
Right.
But now I got, everybody's older. So, but they brought this scam in there, and they set it up for underage thing.
Well, and
I never had
it
an
sounds like a lot of it was the police department, so. Okay.
All right, so, given the representation that the scanner's fixed, that there actually is food, but you're pointing out that it's a restaurant?
And they applied for a restaurant, which is a problem.
We would be more than willing to amend the application.
You don't
to
amend, you refile. a new
Refile
application.
a corrected application.
Okay. All right. Well, you're going to have to do that.
You want
All
the
right.
history to follow?
Pardon me?
You want the history to follow?
Yes.
Yes. And I'll do 3,000.
3,000.
I'm going to give them a time frame to file.
How long will that take you to file it,
I
to
would
turn
ask-
it into a tavern?
I would ask for 45 days.
Okay. 45 days.
45 days.
On it. Okay. 789, 790, and 791.
That would be-
574, 9th, yep.
I apologize, that's Dave's Tavern, doing business as Dave's Tavern. Once again, I think we discussed all the same issues. This is where the sale to minor, again, I've spoken to Midtown South, we're working with Midtown South, so this has become not a focal of their resources. Like I said, I'm meeting with the lieutenant who commands the Special Operations Unit, which is part of the community affairs part of the precinct.
Okay.
We would ask for, obviously, not revocation, we leave the fine up to your.
We're going to, so we had the same issue with the security guards at this place?
Yes, it was one company that unfortunately he fell victim to in both places, because they are, if you can see the area, they are literally on corners to each other.
And what about the food? Has he, because he,
The
there was
food
a,
is the
there
same
was,
thing. He's put the hot dogs in and the fryers in. I'm informed now that the fryer here is in also and operating. For finger foods, we would have to,
Tavern, no,
we'd have to move this again to a
Nope,
tavern license.
nope, this one is a tavern.
This is a tavern license. Okay, this one is a tavern
All right.
license.
You've got the 18 and under sale, this to minor, that's the second one.
We do understand the
Comes
severity
out,
of
yeah,
it.
I mean, this comes out to over 12,000 on the standard, but I'll do 8,500.
8,500.
Thank you.
Is that combined all all proceedings, all three?
Oh, what
You
was it?
also have the sale to minor.
So you have the next one,
Oh.
yeah.
Where's the third one?
It's
separate.
it's right
Oh,
behind
Second
791.
page, it all falls into that one time period where we had the problem.
Oh, this 520?
No,
Oh, 791.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, they were different.
Yeah, it was
calendar
520, right?
Okay.
Oh, so then, oh,
You want to go to 10?
It's a sale to minor.
another sale to minor?
Yes.
Yes,
from
again, it
April of
was.
2015.
Yes, they were
That went
both
to
in that
hearing.
same one
third.
time period.
All right,
It was a police operation.
all right, 10,000.
10,000.
Thank you, Your Honors. Okay, sit, I'll be with you in 1 second. I have-
802, El Picocito Bar and Lounge.
This, Your Honor, Marconi and Associates for El Picosito Lounge. This was a default, and I'm asking for the board to vacate this default and send it back. I'll give a little brief history. Again, Mr. Race is retiring and transferring his practice to my practice. We have taken on this client, and the procedure in my office is when they get a notice of pleading, they fax it to my office, I take it, it gets a file number, it gets a date returnable for the pleading, and of course, then we follow through. In this particular case, when we found out it was on the calendar, I checked my records, and apparently it may have come in and got lost in my office. I have unfortunately, I have two other matters with El Picosito that came in, one right after the other. I've subsequently learned that somebody in my staff, I think, took this one for being one of the two prior ones we got. I would just ask to go back for hearing.
All right, we'll send it back to hearing.
Thank you.
Back to counsel's office.
758 Central Perk Wine and Spirits.
This, we have to call this in conjunction with 759.
I don't have anybody sign in on that one.
Oh, they did, somebody signed in.
Oh, I'm sorry, they did.
Mr. Seidman's
That's right
right there.
behind.
So 758 is first. No, sorry, 759 was filed
It's Wine Haven.
first.
They filed on 12/8.
Yes, and Central Perk filed on 12/21.
Okay.
Good morning, Leonard Fogelman, attorney for Central Perk.
We're going to do 750, 9 first, Winehaven.
They had filed before.
But we have protest here?
Okay.
Come on up.
You can do the protests first.
Protest
Sorry,
for
Mr.
voting.
Simon. We do the protest first.
Hello, my name is Sean Kim. I'm the owner's son of 120 West 58 Wine and Liquor, which is literally a block and a half away of this new establishment that's coming up.
Which one are you in protest for, both? Or?
Yeah, I'm going to protest for both.
Okay.
I oppose for both liquor stores opening within 25 steps of each other. I've never seen two liquor stores open at the same time. I've been in the business since 2008. I've also been in the neighborhood since 1988. We used to own a deli at the same liquor store, and a big store opened right on the corner, so we had to do something else, and we converted it into a liquor store in 2008. So I've been in the neighborhood for over 25 years, 20 years. This will probably be a very, very detrimental to our bottom line. As you know, we had to close our first store because a huge store opened right on the corner of 6th Avenue. These two stores opening at the same time is gonna, dip into our profits a lot. We are a side street, so we don't have walk-bys or anything. We're all word of mouth. We're a family-run business for over 20 years.
You're 55th Street?
58th Street, 120 West 58th.
Okay, I see, okay. Thank you.
Just for the record, I just looked it up. These two stores are only 259 feet from each other.
The two applicants. Yeah, no, I knew that.
That's why I strongly oppose it. I've never seen two stores literally right next door, and there's 9 liquor stores within a 5 blocks radius of this.
You're opposing each individually. You're not opposing the.
I'm opposed each individual.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
My name is Shirley Advani. I own 55th Street Wine and Spirits. That's located on 55th between 5th and 6th. I'm opposing both stores also, especially the Central Perk store, because it's less than 359 feet away from my location. I'm also on the side street, and having a store right across a large grocery store is another detriment to my business. And we moved about 4 years ago to a bigger location, invested a lot, and please, I would appreciate if you would consider this and deny this license.
Okay, thank you.
I have Sandra Rippon here from Community Board 5.
Okay.
Good morning. I'm actually from the Block Association. I'm active with Community Board 5, but I'm not representing them today. I've lived on 55th Street for 45 years. And as a longtime resident, I'm here to protest the application by Central Perk Wine and Spirits, and by extension, Winehaven. Shirley Advani, the proprietor of 55th Street Wines and Spirits, has been a mainstay of the neighborhood for 7 years. She doesn't just sell a well-balanced, wide variety of wines and spirits, but she and her staff are knowledgeable about all her stock and shares their expertise in depth if necessary. She contributes to the neighborhood by being supportive of the Block Association, donates to special projects, and she and her employees are always alert to whether something or someone is out of place. She maintains a sophisticated security system and willingly shares video footage when asked by the police, who have come to know and trust her. Ms. Advani's rapport with other business owners is well known and respected. The applicant, Central Perk Wine and Spirits, is located, by my measure, 369 feet from Ms. Advani's door. There are already 3 independently owned liquor stores within a 3-block radius. Ms. Advani's makes 4. This new applicant and probable affiliate Winehaven, associated 1 block north, and also being considered today, would make 6 liquor stores within 3 blocks. There already exists a fair and mutual understanding between the 4 independent owners. It should be noted that if you extend to a 5-block radius, there are 3 more well-established stores. That would bring the total to 9 liquor stores within a 5-block area. The applicant has chosen to apply to open a liquor store on the doorstep of another liquor store. This is not fair competition. It could result in closure, financial loss, and hardship for employees and family. I ask you to judge the wisdom of another liquor store where you already have 7 in close proximity. I respectfully ask that you consider denying this application and the other application for Winehaven Inc.
Thank you. So, Winehaven Inc.
Bernard Seidman, representing the applicant Winehaven Inc. My client, Mr. Park, wishes to open a store on 6th Avenue between 56th Street and 57th Street. His wife recently opened a store in a neighborhood that's similar to this particular neighborhood. It's a neighborhood that has lots and lots of construction and many, many, many tourists. This particular neighborhood is one of the unique neighborhood in New York where there is skyscrapers being built all over the place. There's going to be one very, very close to my client's store. There's one on 56th Street and Park Avenue, the largest residential building in the world. There's one coming on 59th Street where they're going to have a Nordstrom's department store. It's going to go from 59th to 58th Street. The area is exploding vertically. My client has observed his wife's store. He understands the business. It will be a betterment to the area. Now, as far as the other stores, a store on 58th Street that is objecting to our application, I think around 5 years ago, they made, or possibly 5 years ago, maybe longer, they made their application when there was a store 250 feet away on 6th Avenue, the Orion store, who is, I don't think they're here today. The nearest store to us beside the one on 58th Street would be the store on 6th Avenue, the Orion store, which is, frankly, disgraceful. They have no inventory. They change their prices between regular customers and tourists. They sell water, seltzer, and mixes. My client's store would replace that store. It will be a beautiful store.
It's still open.
Pardon me?
How is he going to replace a store that's still open? You're telling me that he plans on putting it out of
replace
business?
it just by opening. We're not going to sell it, and they're not going out of business. But it'll be a store that people would want to come to, and they won't get ripped off. They're going to get their money's worth, and they'll have a very, very large inventory, particularly of New York wine and spirits, and I think they expressed that to you over here. Now, there are other stores in the area, but when population increases, buildings get bigger, I think it's logical that you could have additional stores. And my client would have one that would be beneficial to the neighborhood and the industry.
What is he going to supply the neighborhood that's not being supplied by, let's just go with 55th Street Liquors, since that's the closest one, it appears?
Yeah.
What's he going to supply? What's he going to sell that the other stores aren't supplying?
A larger selection of New York wines and spirits.
How big a selection?
As far as percentage of the overall inventory, I would say 15%.
Anything else?
Yes, he's going to have one price for tourists and for people who live here all the time.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Pardon me?
Did you say a different price for tourists and?
No, the same price, whereas the Orion store charges different prices.
You have any questions?
Not.
Okay. I don't either.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, we handle both and vote on both?
Hear both and then vote on.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's easier.
Is there anybody else here in protest of either of these? No, you already did, I know. Yeah. Okay.
Can I ask the 55th Street wine owner? 55th Street Liquor. So what percentage of your wines in New York State?
About 10%.
About 10%?
My prices are very
Speak at the
Can
microphone.
you speak at the microphone, please?
My prices are extremely fair in the neighborhood. The neighborhood knows my store for my fair prices. Orion's is extremely expensive, yes, but we try and maintain a well-balanced inventory between liquor, wine, spirits, and have very, very fair prices.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Who? Yes.
What percentage of your wines and liquors are New York State?
New York State wine and spirits, there's not that much compared to California, all over the states.
Right.
There's very, very little vineyards in Long Island. There's Hudson Distillery for the whiskeys, and also Brooklyn has also.
Oh, there's Finger Lakes wine. I think that the landscape has changed a lot.
It's changed a lot, but
Not in comparison to California.
Yeah, well, not in comparison to California,
for
obviously.
the areas that we are in right now, the tourist area, they're not particularly looking for New York wine. They are particularly looking. I'm sorry, but.
So what percentage of your stores?
My percentage, I have about 15% of spirits and probably 5% of
Okay.
wines.
All right, thank you.
We-
Oh, you
my-
wanted to
my-
add something? Yeah.
My expertise are in very, very high-end whiskeys and bourbons, which is my expertise, and also very, very high-end in wine. And our prices are the best in the neighborhood. We are very, very competitive because of the side street that we are in.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Leonard Fogelman, attorney for Central Perk, along with my client Sherry Tomar and her husband. As Mr. Seidman stated, this is an unbelievable area of Manhattan now, which is growing tremendously every time you look at the landscape, the view from any place in New York, you see these 70, 80, 90-story buildings going up on Fifth Avenue, Sixth Avenue, overlooking Central Park, and the number of people that are going to be moving, that have moved in and are moving in, it's a mind-boggling number of new residents in the area. In my submission to you, we've given you an article from the New York Times which talks exactly about this and the buildings that are coming. Aside from that, obviously, because of where it is a tourist destination, and we've provided you with the names of many New York City hotels that are coming in, and many of these hotels do not have restaurants, and they're hotels that without a restaurant and without a excuse me, without a restaurant and without a liquor license, some of them won't be getting liquor licenses, and the people staying in these hotels from around the world want to be able to have alcohol in their room, and they will be buying from the liquor stores nearby. The four closest stores, the information that you've been given by the stores show that they're all doing quite well. 55th Street Liquors has sales of ballpark $1.5 million, increasing. 120 West 58th Street, located on 58th Street, is also a store which has, it's a small store, but it's also in the $1.5 million range. The Ryan store, which has already been talked about, and we certainly reiterate about their practices, their sales are also going up. And the fourth closest to my client's application on 7th Avenue is a store also with increasing sales, with sales over $1 million. We're also within 100 feet of the subway station at 6th Avenue and 57th Street. We're very close by to the Rockefeller Center subway station that services 15 million riders a year. Their business plan is to be a specialty wine and spirits store. We've provided you with a list of their proposed inventory of New York products, including Long Island wines, upstate wines, and a wide selection of New York State whiskey, gin, vodka, cordials, all produced in New York State.
What percentage are you looking at of their inventory?
I think I might have said in my letter, let me just take a quick look so I don't misstate. Say it.
About 35%. 35%.
35%
New York State product.
New York State product.
Wine and liquor?
Wine and liquor, yes.
And what percentage of your store is going to be wines and what percentage liquor?
Wine will be about 60% will be wine.
And so 35% of your wines will, of that 60%?
35% of the products.
Okay, so what percentage of wines?
Out of the 60%, it will be 30%, 30 to 35%.
And what about of liquor?
Liquor will be another 20%. But there's not too many, can't promote that much because I'm getting better on wine because there is still lagging. And plus there will be a lot of American Spirit as well for the tourists who are coming into the area. So they were introduced with the New York State wine as well as the American Spirits. Once they go, but most of them are international tourists. They go back home and they know what they bought from where. So it will be a good showcase for the New York State wines as well as American Spirit.
Mr. Fogelman, in your submission, you said that your client's application is more meritorious than Winehaven because Winehaven is only going to be 505 feet from the store at 120 West 58th Street. But your client's store is going to be 470 feet from the nearest licensed premises. So it's got to go one way or the other, right?
We're on 6th Avenue, so we're on the main avenue. We're not on a side street.
I also think,
Plus the size of the store is only 550 square feet.
Yeah, there
It
are-
will not hurt any other existing businesses in the area. Winehaven is a 1,900 square feet store plus same amount of basement. So this sounds like a big giant warehouse discount kind of store which will hurt everyone around the area. And we have the,
and one additional thing to point out is my client's store, which is on 6th Avenue between 55th Street and 56th Street, and the stores that have been talked about are all basically north, east, and west of that location. Going down 6th Avenue, there are no other stores until 38th Street, so, which is a drop less than a mile from 38th Street to between 55th and 56th. So 6th Avenue could certainly use another store at that location.
All right, I'm ready.
Yep.
Ready? Thank you. So start with 759, Winehaven.
Yes.
Yes, please.
I would say a store that carries 35% of their inventory, that's going to be the only store in the entire state of New York, except possibly a state-run store, that carries that much New York State inventory. I think that's patently nonsense that's been said over here just to impress you and possibly give them the license instead of us, if you would so intend. Also, the gentleman said that there's a 1,900-foot basement. The store does not have a basement. And because it's a good percentage of the frontage of the space will be for inventory, not just all selling.
But the store itself is 1,900
Yes,
square feet?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, no question.
Bernie?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to ask your client if there is a basement? Because I think we've seen the lease, and the lease indicates that
There's
there is a basement.
No, there is no basement.
Even though the lease says there's
Yeah,
a basement?
there is no
Well, if he gets a
basement.
license, it's not going to be licensed, so.
No, there is no basement there.
Thank you.
Okay, so, yes.
It'll be 35% of the wines. Out of the 60% of the wines, 35%, not the 35% in the store will be wines.
Right,
That was
right. You said 35% of the total products. The way you gave me the numbers, it kind of comes out to about 25%, but
Right, 25.
we're not gonna.
That's what it is,
We're
25%.
not gonna, yeah, but I get it. Thank you. So we'll start with Winehaven. There has been development in around this area, but I think it's a little different than the development that's going around in other parts of the city, in that these high-rises are very expensive. High-rises, there are stories that have also talked about part-time residences, and a lot of them aren't 100% sold, partly to the economy and the high prices of the units. So I don't really see, or I didn't see any evidence of actual increase in population in the area. There's 3 stores within 2 blocks of this proposed location, and while there have been increases in the sales of the 3 stores, I think that it's currently sufficiently providing the public convenience and advantage necessary for the residents there at this time. So I vote to deny.
I'm going to vote to deny as well. I think that, one, I didn't see any increase in population or evidence of increase in population. There are, from what we just heard, 6 liquor stores within 3 blocks, and there are certainly on the application 4 liquor stores in under 0.2 miles. So based on the sales numbers, I see why they are either going up or flat. I just don't see the need for another liquor store at this time in that area. So I don't see any convenience or advantage. And am I correct in saying that we just denied an application at this almost exact location in December?
I can check, though.
Mr. Seidman's applied for several in this area.
I think in December 2015, we also denied an application in this general area for the same reasons.
Applications in the 40s. I don't know if any
40s.
were in the 50s.
So moving on to 758 Central Park Wine and Spirits. It's a very similar line of thinking. The closest store is 476 feet away by our calculations, and we've got at least 3 others that are within a 4-block radius. And, it's similar it's the same factors that I just applied to Winehaven. There's no evidence of significant population increase. the selection offered here isn't going to be drastically different from what's already being offered. And so I vote to also deny this.
I'm going to vote to deny as well on the same grounds. There's just a number of liquor stores in the general vicinity here. I think this applicant was a fine applicant. I think the other applicant was a fine applicant as well. I just think that this area at this point has enough liquor stores and is being adequately served by the ones that are there. So I vote to deny.
Thank you.
I know you deny. Can one of Mr. Park's friends express some of his thoughts now? Mr. Park, that his English is not that good.
For what reason? We already voted.
Maybe to change your mind. That's the
That's
only reason.
That's not going to happen.
Okay, one more, then we go. 818 C&L Realty.
I have one more that I signed in for, that I actually signed in before Central Perk, and that's Polo.
Is this a licensing disciplinary? What is it?
It's a reconsideration on a grocery store disapproval.
What number?
I don't know. Give me a minute. Is
No,
it-
I'm asking Mr. Fogelman. Do you know? Did you see that we denied one right there?
No, Jackie's trying to look through.
I'm trying to find it. That ain't the one.
I had a note on my thing. I don't know why I knew that.
I'll give you the agenda. Good memory.
Is it Hempstead?
It's the Hempstead grocery store.
817 Polo Food.
Yes. Thank you. All right. This is Polivio Reyes, who has been a very fine grocery store owner in Hempstead since 2005. And he applied for a license for a new location, not using a liquor lawyer, and he applied for the license. He applied for a temporary permit. He received a temporary permit, and unfortunately, he did not realize his temporary permit expired. He continued to sell. He then realized, and he then filed a application to extend his temporary permit. So there is no question that he committed a violation and was selling after his temporary permit.
Right, so he didn't use a lawyer to assist him, right?
That's correct.
But then who's the one who advised him that it was okay to?
That was whatever the gentleman's name is who represented him, who helped him file his application.
Doesn't the permit have an expiration date on it?
It does. It does.
So what part didn't he understand?
Well, maybe he can answer that. There's no question that he violated the ABC law. The question before you is whether or not that sin, that error, that grievous error, will cause Mr. Reyes to basically lose his grocery store.
So can you just have him answer that question, please?
Okay, ask it again so we can hear it.
So you saw that the permit had an expiration date?
No, it's
You didn't notice it?
no.
What?
I don't know, it was,
Would have one as well, so let's hope we can.
Yeah, the permit doesn't have an expiration date?
It's in small print.
It's all in small print.
Everything's in small print, come on.
His license would have an expiration date, so he would.
But do you understand the importance of the expiration date?
yeah, I understand, but I never see the expiration date. I think it's,
You thought once you got your license, it lasts forever?
no, I think the original license coming before the temporary expire, so
Alright.
I don't pay
Okay.
attention to that.
All right, I think, you haven't been able to sell for 3 months, and so, look, your license has an expiration date, and you can't expect it to come, you have to renew on time, and you can't sell during the time that you don't have the license for. So, all right, we'll grant the consideration. I'll grant the consideration.
I'll grant it as well.
Okay. Return to licensing.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Back 818, yeah. CNL 818.
Good afternoon.
Good
My
afternoon.
name is John Mitchell, and I represent CNL Realty, Inc. This is an application for reconsideration. Out of the 6 principals who are family members, I have Kathleen Spinakoska here. Yeah, I'm sorry, and Annie Sponza. This is a request for a reconsideration. I believe the documents that we submitted hopefully alleviate the concerns. The one major concern was that of a kitchen. Unfortunately, I think at the time that the draftsman that we had hired who prepared the diagrams, the kitchen was in process and he didn't have a complete showing of that kitchen. Since then, we have submitted a diagram showing the kitchen being complete. It's a full kitchen, it's fully equipped. It's got a microwave, it's got a convection oven, a stove, a grill, refrigerators, commercial fridges, top ovens, food processors, blenders, mixers. It's got everything that a commercial kitchen needs, preparation counters, sinks, so forth. You'll also note that we submitted a certificate of occupancy, which shows that the premises can be legally used and occupied as a hotel, motel, and a cafe or restaurant. We have a full course menu. We've submitted an updated menu which has both breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I will say that
Are these pictures of his place or no? Are these pictures in the back of your location?
yeah, I believe I don't know which ones you're looking at.
Well, I
but-
think there was questions about whether they were the actual location.
But I don't think he can answer yes until he sees them.
Oh, you don't have them?
But do you have the actual ones? Why don't you give us the actual ones? Sure. You can keep
And if your
flipping.
client can look at them because
Yeah,
they
that-
know.
Sure. You can keep flipping.
The first one with the star.
Wait, first take a look at it and then please, you can go to the mic. No, we can share. Yeah.
So the first one with the star in the picture, that is the market space, and that is a display refrigerator next to the star in that photo?
Yep.
Okay. The other one is a different view. We were asked to take from several different angles, doorways.
Okay.
So if you were walking in from the outside patio, that's the angle for that shot. It's again the same space. It looks like they're double-sided prints.
So what's the next? Is that your
So
kitchen?
that's the kitchen. It's a commercial stove with an Ansel system, hood. That's a 2-oven, 6-burner, griddle, and flat top.
Okay.
The next one is across from the stove, which would be, you're seeing the edge of the commercial refrigerator, shelving, and the 3-bay sink on the far left part of that. Then you have looking in, straight in, like an alleyway to it, which again is the 3-bay sink across from that stove and Ansel system.
Okay, go to the next picture.
Same stove. If you were standing where that display refrigerator is located, that's across the top of that original counter you saw, and that's the seating in the small market space. And there is a set of doors that open up going into the lobby towards the waterfront lobby of
This
the
is
hotel.
a waterfront property.
But is this a restaurant? This looks more like, at the Hampton Inn where you go to have your waffle in the morning.
Well, it's that part, yes. And then we have different style seating because we do have families. So we have some farm style and some small cafe seating. And then so we took a lot from this different angle because those are the ones we didn't have in the original drawing.
But is this where you serve breakfast, or is this where people come and they receive a menu and they order lunch and dinner?
You can walk up, order, and purchase from the display. Things are already prepared. The breakfast is served in the lobby area, the Continental breakfast, which, let me see.
But it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And
Can I ask you a question? So do they walk in, as I would any hotel, walk in, go into a restaurant, sit down, receive a menu, order, and be served my meal at my table?
The dinner, yes.
Yes.
No, all of them.
No, the Continental breakfast, you would walk in and you'd walk past and you would pick up whatever it is you wanted from that. We don't.
Statute requires a restaurant that serves meals at a table with silverware throughout the course of the day.
Well, they can. You can go in,
can.
you can go in there, you can order, and then it'll be
Well,
served.
can you, but will you? That's
I
the-
will,
Oh,
absolutely.
Yes. In other words, you can order and then sit down and the meal will be served to you.
Absolutely.
And the
Go to
same
your
thing,
kitchen
the same,
and brought
the
to
same thing with lunch and dinner. The only thing is with lunch and dinner, it's definitely table service because they have a pretty elaborate lunch and a very, very elaborate dinner. As a matter of fact, if you could elaborate the type of food that you're going to have.
But so then, to be clear, for breakfast, you can't just have it continental style.
I mean, you'd have to be able to sit down and
And
order.
have silverware.
Yes, you can, yes. You could.
Well,
go
as
to the
long as they
counter.
do it for lunch and dinner,
Well,
does
no,
it
if
matter what
says-
they do at
look,
breakfast?
We can have a little wiggle room there. It says sit down for all meals throughout the day, but as long as they can sit down, you're serving.
Well,
croissants.
they would have to. I mean, you're not going to stand up and.
But it's not just a
No, she's talking about as you would walk into any restaurant, be served by a waitress or waiter, and the food comes out from the kitchen and is served to you. That's the
You
legal.
could go to the counter, order, sit down, and then it would.
Okay, we have to go one step further, though. Now, this is open to the general public, correct? Not just hotel-
No, it's not.
Well, that's the problem. It has to be a restaurant open to the general public. I have to be able to walk in off the street, sit down at that restaurant, and order a meal.
Okay.
Well, you can. In other words, you're not going to be excluded.
couldn't.
You're not
Why
going to.
don't we let her answer? That way we can,
So we are a 20-unit hotel. Those 20 units also have 20 dock slips that go with them. So if you were to come by way of water, you would dock your boat, you'd be able to take a room. We also have a 175-slip marina that is right next door. If you come in from the marina, you come in as a guest to the hotel, either one, general public, you can come in, place your order.
Because you really have to be open
Yes.
to the general.
but what if one of us without a
You could
boat, can we
absolutely-
just come in, sit there and order?
I have a boat. Do you have?
I don't have a boat. My premium
would
salary
love
doesn't
for you to
allow me to
come
get a
out.
boat. I have a paper
And I
boat.
also would like it to.
But there was no menu.
Yeah, there is.
Right.
There was a
Yeah.
catering menu.
That's what I was asking.
If you could just elaborate just 2
So
seconds.
the food is under me specifically because my husband's side of the family, we are farmers. And so this is a farm-to-table experience as much as we can make it. We are growing the produce and augmenting it with the seafood in the area and the beef, chicken, and other
But
things.
these are
that
all
we-
platters.
Yeah, can I ask?
And
because it does say-
catering, there's no individual, hi, I want to order my own Cobb salad. There's a Cobb salad or something for 15
So those are
people.
versions of what we already serve, so that if you were coming in, the other thing that we can do there is we have the ability to have family gatherings, because a lot of the times, the people that are coming to stay at our establishment are family. And they want to be able to have a birthday party or a family reunion.
No, we get that, but do you also have an individual menu?
I don't have it with me,
You can
no.
send it to us?
Yes,
You'll
we
have
can
it?
send it
I
to
think
you.
you have the individual menu.
Well, no, I mean, we have small bite salads, large bites, but the catering menu is significantly larger than the individual.
Okay.
Yeah, we could submit something else to you.
Not a problem.
So you're telling me your individual menu is as large as the catering menu, or at least,
It has periodically all of those
Okay.
things on it. Because we are seasonal, it depends on what I'm going to add to that from what I'm trying to be specific in representing our region.
Okay.
Because,
We can certainly, when they do submit it.
But you can go in there, have a fish dinner, you could have a chicken dinner, you could have a steak, whatever. I mean,
But we just want to make it clear. I mean, we want to support farm table is great, location's great, everything you're saying is great. It's just there's statute of what a hotel liquor
Okay,
license
and I appreciate the
entails.
education I've
So as
gotten.
long, so as long as you follow that, we're happy to approve
Okay.
this. I'm happy to approve this, so just make
we're
sure
actually
you.
sending it back.
Sending it back.
Well,
You're not going to approve it.
right.
This is
So
for
if
reconsideration,
all these
so I think
things,
you might have to
right,
send
I'll send it back. But that's basically the guideline. for
okay,
you.
And what we can do is just do a condition that the menu is sufficient enough for.
okay.
And the sit down.
Yeah, I mean, the menu you sent us it looks like your bar menu, and then you sent us the catering menu. We need the lunch and dinner menu.
Okay.
All right, so
Yeah.
we'll supplement.
And
that.
obviously, you're allowed to change that, or seasonal is whatever you
I
do.
grow over 50 varieties of vegetables. We have some of the people that are in our marina who are baymen, and so That's
But
why-
it's just the concept of it. You can't just have it so people walk in and, who are guests and order something at the table and sit down, or just start doing continental breakfast. You just
Or
can't
discriminate against non-boat owners.
like me, yes.
We have a boat club.
All right, so.
All right, so we'll send that back to licensing.
All right,
All right.
then let me say this, they had sent back the application fee. Should I be submitting that to you then, or should I be submitting it back?
Mhm.
To do that now, or?
Sure, if you haven't, yeah,
All right.
yep, you can do that.
We'll take a 5-minute.
Yep. All right,
We gotta go to Buffalo after
And
this.
I appreciate that because during the time of the original application and why the kitchen drawings weren't complete is because we were recovering from Superstorm Sandy. And
Okay.
we've gotten assistance from the state, and we appreciate this assistance.
Great.
as well.
All right. Great.
Thank you.
the item in Buffalo. Item 765, CMA Petroleum. Can you state your names for the record, please?
She said. Yep, okay. Good afternoon. My name is John Parinello. I'm an attorney from Rochester, New York. And I am the attorney for CMA Petroleum INC. And standing with me is the applicant, Caitlin Abulba. We are here for reconsideration. As part of the
The results of a statutory hearing, not reconsideration.
Correct.
Yes, well, CMA was formed on March 11, 2009. Caitlin holds all of the stock of that corporation. And there was a temporary permit issued, and that temporary permit was scheduled to expire on September 21, 2015, and there were extensions granted until November 13th. And on November 13th, we received, that is CMA received and Caitlin received, a application disapproval.
And we're familiar with the facts. I'm assuming you read the decision? You went for...
I have read the decision, and first of all, we were late this morning because they had problems with a 2-year-old getting situated, so we didn't get here until about 10:30. I apologize for that. I did receive the decision, and my position with respect to the decision is that all of our submissions, I submitted a letter to Attorney Jamie Gallagher on her invitation, asking me to submit an equity letter to determine whether a hearing was necessary. And the next thing is that we did have a hearing in front of the administrative law judge. The administrative law judge issued a decision.
Recounting everything.
And that decision was February 16, 2016.
So we know what happened. I don't. If you want to tell us why you disagree with the decision, then can we get to that?
Sure. I will tell you. The basic reason I disagree with it is that the lady standing next to me, the characterization that she does not possess the requisite character and fitness to be a licensee, that is contradicted by the record of CMA Petroleum Inc. And that is CMA Petroleum Inc. had a license on Lake Avenue in Rochester, New York. CMA Petroleum Inc. Had a license in Akron, and CMA Petroleum applied for a license at 959 Chili Avenue in Rochester, and that's the one that has been turned down. There is nothing about this young lady who stands next to me that is indicative of her character and fitness as far as being a license holder.
Did she fail to disclose that her husband, Mohammed Abulba, was the chief executive officer of the applicant? Was that on the application?
Yes and no.
Well, then that enough right there, yes and no. That answer is enough to find that she does not have the requisite character.
Well, the reason I answered it, you asked me two questions. And the first one was, did she disclose? And the second one was whether it was on the application. Let me explain that. First of all, she had worked for another company for years. She had a cyst on her brain removed, and at that time, she signed a biennial statement indicating that her husband was the CEO. That was in 2011. She did not, after that, she had a baby, she had a miscarriage, she was home with 5 children. She did not realize or remember that that was filed. Mr. Abuba was put on there to help her during that time that she was ill.
And she didn't notify us of it. Did she also fail to notify us that he was the president of Elba's Market?
Well, there was no reason to do that.
Well, if he's the CEO of the licensee, yes, there is.
Pardon?
If he's the CEO of the applicant, yes, there is.
Well, he wasn't, let me tell you, he was not the CEO of the applicant because she simply overlooked filing a biennial in 2013 and 2015. It never crossed her mind.
Well, that may be, but as the ALJ found here, you didn't present anything different than what was decided by the licensing board already. You're really not presenting anything new here. So I'm going to uphold the licensing board's, the ALJ's decision.
I agree with the chairman's decision.
But, maybe you're not hearing me. Mr. Abuba, there is no evidence and has not been any evidence that he has been involved in the activities of a CEO. This is simply an oversight case.
Well, sir, then I recommend that you file an appeal. That's all I can tell you. The ALJ made a finding of fact. I'm going to go stick with the ALJ. Nothing new has been presented here.
She was wrong.
Well, then you have an outlet to tell somebody she's wrong.
Well, we always have an outlet, but we were invited to come in for a reconsideration, and I'm asking.
No, that's what the hearing was. That's what your hearing was, a reconsideration.
No, I have a letter. I have a letter, email from Janie Burke that's dated March 15, 2016, that says, please be advised that on April 5th, 2016, the above request for reconsideration will be before the members of the authority, meeting of the members of the authority.
All right.
Pardon?
Could you hold on 1 second?
This is where Janae was helping out and sending out notifications to licensees and applicants about what's on the calendar. She used the wrong form letter. That is a form just letting you know that you have an item on the calendar. So she used the wrong one. This is not a reconsideration request. It is your statutory hearing. That's what.
I don't understand why.
So does he file for one now?
No.
He doesn't have. You don't have a reconsideration. You have to either appeal it or move on.
Fix the corporation and.
Yeah, you can fix the corporation and reapply. But it's not going to go forward as it is.
All right, we already have done that. We've already filed a biennial statement that indicates that there is no CEO except my client. And so we can file another application, but the problem is we're losing $40,000 a month because of this technicality.
It's not a technicality. It was there was information that was incorrect on the application. That's not a technicality to us.
But because of the lady.
The only thing I can recommend is that you file a new application.
All right, but you do understand because of a lady that is standing next to me who had a brain problem, who had a miscarriage, who had 5 children, and who had been in business for years, and then all those applications, prior applications were approved even after the filing of the biennial statement indicating that Mr. Abuba. I don't know why it came up in this case.
I don't either, but it did.
Well,
maybe that's our failure that it didn't come up earlier. That could be. But the bottom line is it came up here. The information was severely inaccurate, and not to mention that it didn't even mention he had another licensing history with us.
The other licensing history is incorrect because he surrendered. He surrendered his license. It was good until December 31st, 2015. He surrendered it in 2012.
All right, well then correct it on the next application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody in Buffalo?
That's it.
That's it for Buffalo.
That's it for Buffalo.
781, Vita LAS.
Do we even have there wasn't anything I could do.
No. Everything in the ALJ
The whole thing was a
wrote
waste
one
of
line.
time.
Yes.
Don't bother pulling it, there's no one here.
So what do we do?
Put it back in.
We'll put it in the next course when we do the rest of the stuff.
Oh.
We'll go to
Oh, I see. Okay.
All right.
715 and 716.
We'll be quick if we just have it.
7:15.
That's all long.
Is it
7:15?
715 and 16.
Before Mr. Gardner begins, he knows this is the matter that Mr. Gardner called me to negotiate an offer with when I realized that I knew the applicant and recused myself.
You know, the applicant or the
The
licensee?
licensee, excuse me, the licensee.
The offer. Jared.
So Mr. Gardner submitted the CNC on the condition that he could negotiate with the board, and if it did not turn out favorably, he could withdraw his CNC in return for his hearing in counsel's office.
Okay.
So, I mean, at
Good
least
afternoon, Alan Gardner, 225 Broadway.
we'll withdraw charges 3 and 4 in the second proceeding, right? We can do that. There's a pretty lengthy list of charges. Do you have food?
We do have food.
Are you a restaurant or tavern?
There was, well, I think that's what's given rise to the issue here. We had filed a corporate change application, which was apparently completely approvable as to the person and the background and fingerprint check and everything, except that and I didn't handle this at the time, but a menu was submitted from which licensing apparently concluded that this was not sufficient to support determination of a license as a restaurant, and therefore disapproved the corporate change application.
But I mean, the bigger problem I have is that it appears he bought a restaurant from the previous owner and never told us, and then ran it for almost 2 years, or a year. Is that inaccurate?
Well, what happened was Mr. Ramos, who was with me today, purchased 50% of the 50% interest in the restaurant. This was done apparently by the attorney who initially set up the restaurant, and Mr. Ramos was never told, or apparently the then principal wasn't told either, that it was necessary to file an application with the liquor authority for this. Subsequently, Mr. Ramos was going to acquire the rest of the interest in the restaurant, and he went to another attorney who said, you got to file this, and that was Leonard Fogelman, and he filed this application. And apparently, Mr. Fogelman had also filed the original application on behalf of Mr. Hernandez.
Throw him under the bus is what you're telling me?
Well, I'm not.
Are these charges?
No, I'm not. No, as far as I can tell, when they went to Mr. Fogelman, he did the application. The thing we really disagree with is claiming the determination of the licensing board that this place is licensed as a restaurant.
It is.
Well, we think it has an on-premises liquor license. That's what we. No,
We're going to
no,
disagree.
wait a minute. If you look at
As a restaurant, he marked it on his method of operation.
Well, that's the point of it. That's part of the method of operation. We think this is a restaurant that a premises that qualified for an on-premises liquor license, code 252, which is either a restaurant or a place that sells food and beverage.
But that's not what he filed.
But that's what we filed. In the method of operation, there's a place to check restaurant, there's a place to check tavern. That's not for the purpose of the on-premise restaurant. It's for the method of operation.
It's to tell us,
and we think
yeah.
and we think this can be corrected.
It's going to change the way we,
As opposed to filing a new application is what we make applicants
trying to change
do
everything that we
when
do.
they're changing the section of law that they're licensed on.
Yeah, no.
That doesn't work.
Right, no.
But that doesn't get us past these charges. So why don't we deal with the charges? You can deal with the application later.
Well, that goes to,
Well,
goes to the
we
No, it really doesn't go to the availing charge because they didn't tell us who sold anything. I mean, that the business was sold.
Well, we did tell you that we did file an application for it.
That was
But-
in
but-
2014,
But it
and
went,
it was
but the application was disapproved, and
Because he was changing the
what I'm hoping to.
But so wait,
Yeah.
so you're telling me that you filed an application, it was disapproved, and you think that's notifying us that there's a new owner?
No, I'm saying it is, I'm just giving you the background.
No, I
of
get
this,
that. So therefore, he continued to run as an unlicensed establishment.
He had been the manager of the place, and he kept.
Right, so I mean, so that doesn't really cure his availing. I mean, he's still availing.
We would just like, we're prepared to pay a substantial penalty for these charges.
Well,
some of which,
so we have to get back to Commissioner Kim's question, what is fixed?
And who's going to run?
we would just like an opportunity in connection to paying the fine, just an opportunity to file an application that would correct this and allow the place to continue in business. It's
It's a whole brand-new license.
Well, I disagree with
Oh, we
that.
don't care, but we're gonna still-
Why can't we have a license under code 252?
Because the ship sailed. He bought the business without filing it when he was supposed to.
And the
So
code-
that ship is gone.
And the code means
He
nothing.
now has a character issue that we have to deal with as well on the new application. You don't just get to act like like you bought it legitimately. He didn't.
The codes are for our purposes, for computer purposes. It has nothing to do with the section of law that he's licensed under.
So, I mean,
Right now, we don't.
so really, the best thing is just to shut this down.
We don't have an authorized principal at the moment.
I mean, we don't have an alternative.
Person you bought this from is, where is
Where is
he?
he?
He's out of the picture, or he's around, or where is he? Yeah, where is Mr. Fernandez?
He's still around.
He's still around?
Does he have involvement with the business? No, that's the issue.
You don't represent him.
He's an accountant. He
No.
does our taxes.
They're not operating under the same method of operation they were approved for. They're not operating under the same.
Oh, I get that. I'm trying to, can we get them into compliance quickly, or is the only thing we can do is cancel it and make him reapply?
He has to reapply if he's going to be something other than a restaurant.
I get that.
I
know you
respectfully
disagree, but you're not going to get anywhere with that. That's over.
So we can do a couple things. If he wants to file a new application, we can put the license in safekeeping while he gets that filed.
Called the cancellation in advance. until we have an approvable application.
Oh, and then you cancel?
And cancel it, and then.
Cancel, and that
we'll have the
becomes
new
active.
We'll have the.
How long does that take?
We can do it, if Mr. Gardner wants to self-certify an application, it can move through quickly. He'll have to go to the community board or the municipality, see if he can get it's a community board. so
How
he can
many
get a
days?
waiver.
Yes, you have to wait, notify the community board, then wait 30 days till.
We might be able to get
you can get a
we might be
waiver.
able to get a waiver from the community board.
Yeah, but we can't waive it, can we?
No, yes, if they give us
No.
a waiver, that allows us to act
Oh, okay.
without waiving.
All right, well, then I don't know, what do you want to
But
do?
it still takes 30 days minimum, right?
No, he has to notify, and then
then
he can
they
request
can
a
waiver
waiver,
it. I
and we
see.
can accept the application under those 30 days.
Could this be filed, I still think it could be filed as a corporate change application.
It's not a corporate change.
Because you're saying I can't file a change of
Mr.
method of
Gardner, you
operation,
can-
but
you
this
can-
appears on the method of operation section.
No, it doesn't.
That's where it is.
You're
That's where
telling
it's
us, Mr. Gardner, you're telling us what you're operating on the method of operation section. You're operating as a restaurant. That's it. That means you're applying under section 64B.
You seem
But
to
you
be.
can file a corporate change
Wait,
application
wait,
if he wants to
wait.
continue to operate as a restaurant.
You seem to be saying that if we apply for you get a new license, and you check restaurant,
Yes,
and later on you say, I'm not going to serve full meals here anymore.
it's a new application.
And the community board doesn't care, but I understand that it's really okay with the community board, but I understand the community board has to know about it. You're saying that I can't file a change in method of operation to say I'm going to be a tavern and notify the community board. I've got to apply for a new license?
Yes.
Just because I'm going to cut out meals?
We're going to change our
With the
practice
authority's
now.
knowledge and approval?
It's a whole different section of law that you're applying under.
It's not our law, we didn't write it.
No, but it's, please don't take this wrong, but I did.
Well,
He was general counsel.
And I was responsible, I was heavily involved in combining the old restaurant and special on-premise liquor license.
Well, if that's what happened, if that's the intent, that's not the way it's been practiced.
Well, the intent at the time, there was no community boards, and there was no community opposition.
I believe all
so
that, but
it was irrelevant.
unfortunately, that's not our practice.
But if just looking at your forms, I don't see. You get an on-premise liquor license. It's not called a restaurant liquor license. It's a restaurant. It's an on-premise. It says on-premise liquor license.
Alan, do you remember when they were RLs and TLs?
Yes,
restaurant liquor?
yes, but
It's the same premise. All we did was change a code. It's still the same premise. So when you had an RL, that was a restaurant liquor license. When you had a TL, that was a tavern. What's changed since then is only those two letters.
But you also have a change of method of operation application. And I don't see.
Because a restaurant could change its method of operation and remain a restaurant.
Yes, you can add music. It means to change your hours.
But if you go to the section, you just check.
We're going around in circles here. I know you wrote the law. In fact, I would like to jump over because it confuses me so much and strangle you because you wrote the law. But I'm not going to do that.
Well, I didn't write it entirely.
Just for clarity.
But what I want to do is get your client in compliance.
And for clarity, the method of operation application is if you want to change your hours, if you want to add music, dancing, or that's it. That's the only thing you can do with it.
Okay.
So what we need you to do is, as quickly as you can, put together another application. We'll expedite it. He's going to have to put his license in safekeeping until then, and then we'll cancel the license once the other one's approved. Are you good with that?
And if you want to self-certify it, it will go quicker.
And then we do need to deal with a fine here.
Well, you'd be canceling it, so.
All right, so we'll just bond it when we cancel it. Is that good, or do you want more?
I think that's good enough. Cancel and bond it.
Talk to the community.
Got to see if he's going to accept it.
Yep, it's a count off.
Yeah.
Okay. So are you good with that?
You say close down, how long, any idea?
Well, you can stay open, you just can't sell liquor. And as long as it takes to get that license approved.
It's going to depend in part on the community.
I think also the second proceeding, charge 2, failure to supervise, I think that's related to the sale to minors, so I think that needs to get dismissed.
All right.
So what are we dismissing?
Just failure to supervise. It
So
goes with the
2,
sale
3,
to
and
minor.
4
Yeah,
we're
2, 3, and
dismissing in the
4
second proceeding.
Why are we dismissing two?
Because it's failure to supervise, it seems like it's only because of the sale to minor.
And the There was something about a certificate of occupancy, a false statement of material, certificate of occupancy, which I haven't been able to find out what.
Was withdrawn.
That was withdrawn.
Yeah, so
Charges 2, 3, and 4 in the second proceeding were withdrawing.
Okay.
So it's cancellation and abeyance, you said, Secretary Held?
Cancellation, well, the license to be put on development for safekeeping, cancellation.
Cancellation can be held in abeyance. Okay.
Licenses.
Until a new application is approved. Okay.
Do you accept that?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, God, do I have a headache.
They want that immediately?
Do you want the license?
Mr. Gardner?
That's what I said, he threw him out.
When do you want the license?
He self-certified.
Of keeping.
When was the license
That's
going to go on
bad.
safekeeping?
He what?
He self-certified it, meaning everything, he told us everything in there was true.
When do you want to do the license and safekeeping? 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm gonna because.
Whenever you decide on it.
Yeah, 2 weeks. I don't know. Give them a couple of weeks to slow. End of the month, yeah.
We'll get it to you by the end, get it to us by the end of the month. How's that?
Okay, fine, thank you.
Well, that's why I asked you how you knew the guy. I'm not gonna bury him because Leonard Fogelman.
Until seriously
blue.
honest.
8:20.
820.
Macy Deli, okay, Macy Deli.
Licensee Timothy Allenwick, this is often compromised.
In here.
6,000.
Yeah, I have a counter at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a counter on there.
Paid 6,500 last sale to
Yeah, we'll counter at
It
10.
was only like 2 months before, too. I mean, it's been in the, well, actually, within a year, this is the third one, so I don't know what's going on, but counter at 10.
There's a pending contract. That's really why I showed up. Could you do something a little lower? There was one charge withdrawn, no? The second charge was withdrawn?
No, it was only one charge.
I only see one charge. Sale to minor.
What is it?
10.
That's
You wrote something in your letter about a CPR kit, but they were never charged with anything about a CPR.
It must have been amended. There was a CPR kit on it.
Not an amended notice of pleading.
But at any rate, it wasn't. He's not charged with it.
He's
so.
not charged with it.
All right, so count up a 10 on that one.
It's our baseline standard third charge, and this is within a year, too, so. And the fourth one, usually take it away, so.
724.
Not 9, is it? 369?
3610, and then gone.
Like you told Mr. Buckley several times on this case that you'd be sending over.
What number?
724.
No, I sent it like Wednesday or Thursday. I sent 2 photos and a menu.
Headache.
I do too.
Just because it's hot. I think it's hot in here.
No, I turned the,
You don't have that? There's-
I feel like we had this case,
Send it
didn't
to
it?
Mr. Buckley.
Brennan,
What?
Tylenol.
No, I took some already.
Oh, that's why. Oh.
There's a menu, and there's 2 photos of the food prep. It shows, the photos show the stove.
On March 25th, you emailed a menu and a picture of a food prep counter with a stove, which has been scanned in as miscellaneous.
Well, I'll take the 6.
6.
Thank
Yes,
Yes.
accept.
Get that menu scanned into workbook.
Is that it?
Signing it right now.
Seriously?
Because none of them expect us to be done this.
Let's go. Let's start the others. Let's start plowing through.
If I don't get the menus in here, it's never gonna make it to work phone, that's what I know.
Oh, the menu.
Yeah.
You want to start reading some off until they get here? What'd she say?
She said.
You're on tape.
It's off.
704.
704.
I had a counter at 1,000.
Counter at 1,000.
705.
6K.
6K.
Okay. 706,
So employment of a felon, we usually do what, like,
yeah, you kind of do more.
pretty good history. I don't know, do you have, what do you have for this?
I had 2,500.
All right, I'll accept 2,500.
Okay. I'll call 821 and 822.
821 and
Tradiciones
822.
Latinas Corp. Are you here for that item, sir? 821 and 822? There you go.
It's Tradiciones Latinas.
Yes,
Sorry for.
it's okay. State your name.
Hi. Benjamin Sharav, appearing for the law office of Victor Molina, counsel for the licensee. Maybe spoke to the authority, made an agreement what they thought would be a fair proposal. He's offered to propose a $15,000 payment and settlement of the two matters. The licensee has everything working right. The kitchen's operating. There's licensed and bonded security guard companies. All the warning signs are displayed.
Is there food?
Yes, there's
what?
Yeah, there's a fully operational kitchen.
Let me ask you this, though. In April of 2015, somebody comes in and writes them up for failure to post warning signs. Then, in July of 15, they're still not up.
Well, I'm not sure how they came.
And my understanding is when they go in and they're not up, somebody hands them to them and says, put them up.
There.
What?
This is a restaurant.
I mean, I don't, like, that to me is just blatant disregard for us.
Well, they're definitely up now, and they've been told to keep them, and they understand that the signs are up.
And then we can go through the same thing about the security guards. He got written up for no security guard or unlicensed security guards, and then somebody goes in several months later and they're unlicensed again. Well, why should I let him keep a license?
Same thing with maximum occupancy.
I mean, the guy doesn't get it.
I believe he does get it. This will be the last time that this happens.
That's what I wrote here. This guy just doesn't get it.
Well, respectfully, I'm not going to defend things that were done wrong in the past. There were mistakes. This is a substantial fine. He does understand that that's it. He can't, that he's under.
But he's not even operating this as a restaurant.
Where is he today? He didn't come with you?
No, he didn't come with me, sorry. I mean, if there's anything else that you want him to do,
Well, I think Commissioner Kim raises questions, and it doesn't sound like you're answering them. So I'm wondering whether we need to bring him in here to answer them. As far as, does he have food? Does he have a kitchen?
It says that he does now have an operational kitchen for the.
You know what his menu is?
I don't have the menu, but it's.
Why don't you have him come in, bring a menu, bring pictures?
Okay.
When can he come in, or when can you get him here?
Next week?
4/12? Or 2 weeks after that?
2 weeks after that.
25th, 26th.
4/26.
And you want the applicant?
Menu, food, pictures of the kitchen, the license up on the wall properly.
You send them to the secretary's office before the meeting?
Is it?
Send the photos the commissioners are asking for?
Menu, food, photos of.
Do we need to save that?
Yeah.
Photos of kitchen, you want photos of the license? Let me just make sure I get them ever.
Just basically, we want him to show us that everything was fixed.
Okay.
Okay.
All
It's
right.
over to the 26th. Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
We fix his tie.
Next item is 707.
707, offer letter of warning, accept.
Accept.
708.
I don't have this license canceled, so cancel for the record?
Cancel for the record.
709 through 711.
Okay,
Charge 2 in the second also?
no, right?
Yeah, just
Just first and third
First and
proceeding,
third.
yeah. All right, offer, cancel, bond, accept.
Accept.
712.
A letter of warning.
I do too, but can we put in there that they need to straighten out the ABC officer situation?
Got it. Seven 13.
Offer, cancel, and bond, accept.
Accept.
714.
Offer 4,500, accept.
Accept. Which one?
The one that they fixed now by submitting it.
They submit it to council's office, but they don't submit it to licensing, or council's office does, I know. Council's office doesn't submit it to licensing, so it's kind of silly to have them send it to two different offices. So we'll have a conversation that if they're correcting measures in council's office, council should get it to licensing.
Okay.
I'll have that trade name to licensing. Got it. 717 through 19.
Offer, cancel, and bond, accept.
Accept.
What was that? 720,
Letter of warning, accept.
Accept.
721,
Cancel for the record, accept.
Cancel.
723.
So I guess dismiss two. Yeah. So this was a little tricky, right? The police officer puts the bottle of wine on the counter, but then the underage pays for it.
Sleazy.
Actually, though, the police officer denied he did that.
But I thought the video showed it did.
Oh, I
it
don't
did do
know.
that.
That
There was
may be
video
right.
evidence. That's the only reason why, because, I mean, is that legal to do what they did?
Is there a problem with that, Jackie, if he did do it?
About it, it wouldn't be ideal in this situation.
Do you have to card everybody who's with you?
Well, they took the money from the other
Sure.
They
person.
took the
Just
other
give me the
person
stuff.
from the
Can you give me
younger
the stuff?
person, but the other person put the bottle there.
Seems kind of.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're
Oh,
selling
yeah.
it to who's, so we can dismiss it.
I tried to buy a egg in college with a 21-year-old was buying it. and
Yeah,
I
by
was-
Friday.
and I was
Send it to me by Friday.
Yeah, but this is upstate, right? This happened to
I'll
me
put it on the
upstate.
12th
but it
anyway, so
doesn't-
get it to me by Friday.
No, I'm just saying, it's just still
We
the
can
state,
dismiss
so.
it, I don't care.
I'm leaving, I can't bounce to side. It's on the 12th.
I would just,
Got it.
I mean, there was video evidence, so I would dismiss this one.
Dismiss,
All of them?
Yes.
yes. And then Jackie's going to explain how she was going to go buy a keg at 19.
Very strong. I carry it myself.
Okay.
Keg of ginger ale.
725,
6,500 accept,
Accept.
726,
6,000 accept.
Accept.
28,
Yeah, the community board didn't say anything here, but it's obviously not a restaurant.
No, it's a club.
Yeah, so what do we do with these people?
I had counter, but we can bring them in. I never thought
let's
about
bring
that.
them
Bring
in.
them in.
Or
next week or 25th?
Next week.
Are we talking about Surf Lodge?
Surf Lodge.
No, we're talking about, no, we're talking, oh, I'm sorry. I
Oh, I-
messed it up. I was at Faluca.
Oh, I'm at Surf Lodge.
Oh, sorry, Surf Lodge. Yeah, no,
No.
sir.
So what, the 20?
Well, it's supposed to be a restaurant, and it's clearly a club.
Yeah, they said they have no security guards, but they
Recorded
have
music
10
only.
security guards.
Charges to be pushed out by
Recorded
five.
music permitted, licensed beer deck, restaurant.
We don't need to bring them in, but I was going to fine them more than this.
Yeah.
Well, make
same
sure they
here.
have to get into compliance too.
Right. They have to,
Be on Surf.
It's either be a restaurant or it's a new application. Right now, they're non.
So I don't want to bring them in for Montauk, but what's the alternative?
They're non-bona fide right now.
Huh?
I think that they probably do operate as a restaurant, except at more of a 10, 11 o'clock at night, it turns into.
Oh, I'm sure that's the story we're going to hear, yeah.
Could we get maybe a statement of mitigation from them? Reach out to them if they don't want to come in? Or you don't want to have them come in from Montauk?
What's the option? Get a statement of
Well, get
mitigation?
something- You want to indicate that they're what they're currently doing, or you're saying they're not a restaurant?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
They said they're a restaurant with no security guards, and they have 10 security guards.
Yeah, so let's do that. So we don't have to bring them in, that they need to
just
send us a
provide
statement of
something, why do you have
mitigation.
security?
For your restaurant.
And your method of
Or
operation.
change your method of operation, right?
No, just did
Or
that.
file
File
a
a new
new-
application.
No, I want them to, I want them to explain their method of
Right,
operation.
explain.
Better thing is just to open a case in enforcement and have a VCI.
But it's already got failure to conform.
And it won't happen until August. Because they're not open right now, are they?
They've been operating for years. This wasn't a sudden thing.
Well, that makes it worse.
Yeah, that makes it worse.
Security guards.
Just because your college years were spent there in the summer, don't sit there and stick up for them.
So,
Well,
All right,
see
you
what
just
else
ask for
I
a
can get.
statement of mitigation, and then we'll see what happens. They don't need to come in.
so we don't.
You want this in next week?
No, you can give them 3 weeks.
425.
They're going to probably go get a lawyer now.
Do we keep this? or do
626,
we throw
426.
this away?
Yeah, what do we do with this? Do we need to keep it?
Keep it, it's an over.
Over.
Saving paper here, a couple of trees at a time. 729,
29. Offer CMV accept.
Except,
oops, what is this?
All right, 7:30. Obviously not a restaurant. Faluca.
Oh, I have 730 Faluca, I have a request from the Attorney Flynn, out of the state.
okay,
So next
Or he requested to 412, so it's not that bad.
412.
Okay. Yes, you have to keep it. 731,
2,000.
Except, oh no, I'm sorry, 2,000.
732,
2,500.
2,500.
733,
500.
2,500.
734,
3,500. Because it's 3,000, but liquor store, you add 500, but then you get the
Take
minus.
Oh, I didn't see it was a liquor store, okay.
Then you
So what do
take
you
it off,
got?
But then you add it back on for the 18, so 3,500.
3,500.
we knew you were good at math.
Thank you.
735,
2,000.
2,000.
Yeah, and what was this comment by the ALJ about, he said at the end, I know this is unusual, but I'm attesting to this guy's character?
That is unusual.
Huh? I felt it as part of my responsibility to make the members aware of the fact that the licensee was a very well-spoken, nice-appearing, and very credible individual. I would be surprised that there were to be another violation in the future. It's not my place to make the
It's simple.
recommendation, so I don't know, but just pointing
What
it
did we
out.
say, 2,000?
Yep.
Yep.
736,
Letter of warning.
The letter of warning.
letter of warning, really?
Why is that? I don't know why it's that.
Was
Yeah,
it
I
a
did
couple
too, though.
days?
You did too, right?
Yeah.
There were certain circumstances.
Says sent notice to wrong community board. Thus notice to proper community board was late once letter of warning was the letter.
Yeah, we took his word
So
for
you
it.
made an effort. That's all we can do. Just get in the ball. Just get in the ballpark. We just want you to get in the ballpark.
If we both of us got it individually, though, it must be something in there.
737,
Offer 2,000, accept.
Except,
738,
500.
no.
No, 20. I'm sorry. What number?
738, Romulo
The
Chavez.
security guy hit the guard. The security guard hit the guy in the head. Yeah, I had
Oh, my
cancel
bad.
and bond.
Said disorderly. Cancel and bond.
739, I have a request from Attorney Palillo, he's out of the country, to 412.
Where the hell does
Everybody
everybody
vacations,
go?
except for us. 740,
Non-bona fide. Cancel. So is it inactive? So cancel and bond?
yes.
Cancel and bond.
741,
It's non-bona fide too. So what do we do with this one then? Cancel it? Or do we approve it? All right.
Yeah, they're in
Oh, okay.
safekeeping, so
Yeah.
they're fine. Okay, so
Accept
it's, I'll
1,000.
accept 1,000.
742?
These guys just expired.
See if we have a renewal on file.
Gunfight at establishment, the place sounds like a keg party. Another one of your haunts?
They have not filed a renewal as of yet.
They haven't?
No.
Yep.
So it's
Cancel and bond.
expired, cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
743?
3,500 accept.
Accept.
744?
Mischarge 2, offer 4,000 accept.
Accept.
745?
Went down to 7,500.
7,500.
746?
Mischarge 4. Why do I have this mischarge 4? Oh, yeah, this
Came
mischarge.
back in and had a drink. That is,
I had this mischarge 4 accept 1,200.
accept. Dismiss charge 4.
749?
6,000.
6,000.
750?
CMB accept.
Accept.
751?
Okay, this is a Henry Street one, right? So 10,000 offer, accept.
Accept.
752?
Offer 3,500, accept.
Accept.
753?
5,000, accept.
Accept.
754?
I had a counter of cancel and bond.
So do I.
Okay, counter cancel bond.
Cancel and bond.
755?
2,500, accept.
Accept.
756?
4,000, accept.
Accept.
57 and 95?
795. I had counter 6,000. They,
My only question was,
had
did they
notice.
get, oh, they did get notice.
Yeah, 'cause they
Okay,
had 2 separate
6,000.
Notice of pleadings.
Counter offer 6,000. 60.
It was 757 and 795.
Yeah. 6,000. Because he had notice. Oh, all right. Well, just trying to be
Because you're
consistent.
selling.
Why, do you get a piece
only
of all these that I wasn't aware of?
I know, but we don't want to. We don't want to go over the standard. Just
All right, 761, I did submit notice from the community board. I sent out an email this morning. I believe I got it last night.
yes,
Okay, I just want to make sure you received that.
they're not a restaurant. Anyway, they don't advertise themselves to be. So I had, what is this? Deny character and fitness issues.
Yeah, I have,
deny.
I have denial on character and fitness issues that just occurred 2 years ago, so I don't know that.
And the information we received, the club is the place is advertising as a club.
And he had a license previously, which to me means he can't be ignorant of what we're looking for.
Okay. 764,
Okay, approve.
Approve.
766, I have a request to adjourn to the May 24th calendar.
May?
Yeah, well, they're already disapproved.
Oh, this is a recon. Okay,
Recon.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
that's okay.
Yep.
767, request for reconsideration.
Doesn't change.
I don't have a position on this one.
This one was tough because he returned the money, it seems, but then it left him with like $4,000. So, it's still a question of whether he's really operating this or if he's just a straw person. If you don't have a position, all right, I'll approve the recon.
Grant return.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll approve as well.
Uh, 768, I have a request to adjourn to 412.
Granted. This is the fourth adjournment for this guy?
Who? Which one are you talking about? The
YTS? Yeah. It's at least a third, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
from
right,
March
nice people.
1st. Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
They were nice
769,
people.
I have a,
Sound like the ALJ.
Well, it doesn't mean I deny plenty of people who are nice people.
okay.
It's just true.
Well, I say, when I feel bad when I go home after these
They're
things,
all
I
nice
do.
people,
Yeah.
I know.
All right, 769, I received a letter to withdrawing the application today.
Withdrawing.
Accepted.
Okay, accept.
So it's no, yeah. Matter of fact, during the meeting. 770,
770, why do I have this as a, 7, I had 3,500 counter.
3,500 counter.
771,
I'm going to ask for this to be sent back to counsel's office. It should have been charged with a second business charge for the ATM machine, and the DET charges should have been a letter form.
Send back to counsel's office.
Back to council.
772,
Yeah, so why do they offer 350 when they know it's 500? So you're gonna kill me if I counter 500?
No, go ahead, make your point.
500.
that's why you're getting them
500.
here. Because
Yeah.
Counteroffer 5.
Who is that? That's,
They're like a big hotel.
no, I know. Who's the, do they have a representative?
Michael Ferrari.
Yeah, 500.
773,
Letter of warning, accept.
Accept.
774,
This was the SIBO people.
yes.
I mean, it was pretty blatant, I think. They knew that this was happening. What did we charge? Do you remember what we charged the other
5, I think, didn't we? But that was a deli.
delis?
Like Midtown Delis, where this is more of a systematic business. This is a place in Geneva,
All right, well, hopefully they know. I think
And it
they'll
was
know.
probably a New York bottle of wine that they opened.
All right, I'll accept this. 2,000.
2,000.
775,
3,000.
3,000.
76,
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
777,
So what's the difference between charge 1 and 2 here? Because the failure to notify was the arrest notification, right? They're the same thing.
Double charging.
yeah, with the same, under the same section.
All right, so just dismiss 2 and accept the offer?
And it's also been since 2013 without any problem. If you wanted to go lower, we are working with enforcement to clean out the large backload of these cases.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it's from 2013, but 15 is the, yeah.
Okay, so accept the 15.
I'll
dismiss-
accept the 15 and dismiss 2, since he says he was traumatized by his interview with the New York City Police Department. And that's why he didn't notify us.
778 and 79.
There's an adjournment request, right?
Oh, yeah, to
But I
426.
said no because we already adjourned this once, and it's a sale to minor. I think they
Who did that?
just, so why are we? I don't understand.
Attorney is engaged.
Who is it?
Anthony,
Procoro.
right.
Procoro.
Fifth?
yeah,
Well, if you want to do it.
Last one.
426, okay.
I don't think it's going to change anything.
No, that's what I'm saying. It keeps getting adjourned. Well,
Didn't we do Dave's Tavern?
yes. we did.
791?
They were like all like.
You already
separate
did, it's
ones.
all-
Oh, right,
Got
okay.
stuck
Go
separately.
ahead.
Yeah, 781, Vita Las. You had pulled it out before, but nobody came in, just in case you don't have it in your stack.
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
$795 is adjourned. These are what, to 426?
12th.
To 412? All right. 786, same thing, 412.
Yes.
796,
No kitchen as of 6/19. And do they have a kitchen now? Bring them in.
I didn't address it in his letter.
He says he has food, but they didn't really show us a kitchen.
Yeah, he gave us pictures of the food.
Well, he's a
but-
bar, doesn't necessarily need a
Oh,
kitchen.
he doesn't need a kitchen?
Just has to have a food
Okay,
prep area.
all right.
5,200.
797,
3,000 accept.
Accept.
798,
6,000.
6,000.
799,
Non-bona fide. New kitchen. It's a default too. Because she was building a new kitchen, but the license was not placed in safekeeping.
It is now.
They didn't extend from 109 to 107. It's actually.
Huh? So they, what do you mean?
Oh, I wondered about that.
Yeah, they didn't extend to Hall City Box. It's just a typo.
It should be 109th Street.
Oh, so we have proof they have a kitchen?
But they defaulted.
They defaulted. They also have an alteration application pending. On
And the
deposit for
license is in
safekeeping.
safekeeping, so I'm good with the fine.
What is it,
What's the
2,000?
fine?
2,000.
2,000.
Awesome.
No, I was
800.
saying what he was
Cancel
doing.
and bond, accept.
Cancel and bond.
801, request from Attorney Palillo.
No food.
Out of the area. They did renew, so 412.
412.
I just, yeah, everybody gets their license to get rid of the food.
803.
1,500.
1,500.
804 through 807.
Cancellation and bond, accept.
Accept.
808.
Charge 1 is dismissed. Charge 6 is withdrawn. 2 through 5 sustained, 5,000.
5,000.
809.
So how do you do this where they went for underage, it's unauthorized, we usually give a letter of warning, but then they went to hearing,
Yeah, lucky them.
and so it's 1,500,
1,500.
right? Is that how it goes?
What you want?
Who was the brainiac that did that? No,
810.
I mean the rep.
I had charge 1 dismissed, so dismiss.
Dismiss.
The gambling is, all right.
Yeah, it's dismissed.
811, we did receive a late not guilty plea.
Not guilty plea?
Yep.
How late?
I don't know, I just threw the email out. I got it from the prosecutor.
Okay.
All right.
Send it back
Turn.
to counsel's office.
812,
Letter of warning, because here they went and
defaulted.
actually didn't fall for it, right?
500. I mean a letter of warning. I'm sorry.
813,
Letter of warning.
Letter of warning.
814,
6,000 accept.
Accept.
15,
Cancel and bond, accept.
Accept.
823,
1,000.
who? 3,000?
3,000.
When
No,
you said
wait.
who, I was like, what?
It's like
Yeah, sale to minor.
Why do I have 35?
2013.
Oh, because of the
it's 3
prior, I
years.
put 500 more on it. They had a suspension with cigarettes. We can go 3,000 is fine.
824,
Dismiss 2, and then cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
825,
3,500 accept.
Accept.
826,
3,000 and 30 days with suspension, accept.
Accept.
you want check during suspension?
Do I want to what?
Yes.
Check,
Send
send enforcement.
Oh, yeah.
Just full of all sorts of ideas over here, huh? 827,
3,000.
3,000, because I don't trust that.
828,
3,100. 100 is for the-
3,100, got it?
3,000 and 100.
3,100.
829,
3,000.
3,000.
830,
Cancel and bond.
Cancel and bond.
831,
Dismiss charge 2, counter 2,500. That's my disorder.
2,500 counter.
uh, 831B.
We just did it.
Yeah, they were dismissing charge 2, just
Yeah.
letting you know on that, Jackie, for 831.
No adjournment for 831B?
No, they didn't come in. I'm
And the
not sure how,
protesters didn't come? Nobody
I'm not
came?
sure how far.
Where would they go, these
Where-
people? Buffalo?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so. Wayne County?
This was a toss-up, but I didn't.
Yeah,
think it-
I kind of was as well.
But yeah, but I
And the
think. Yeah, go ahead.
Protesters in Cayuga, how far is that? 5 miles?
I mean, the numbers are so low in general, and we've issued 2 licenses in the past 2.5 years, 3 years.
All in different towns.
There's 10 miles.
Cato, Hanover.
Anybody know this area very well?
Yeah, I'm
Do Chairman?
There's not much there. That's why they're 5 miles apart.
Where did we get this from?
Well, it's kind of hard to ask the folks.
And it is somewhat seasonal.
Yeah, we did get
as
more
well.
supplemental from Main Street, more protest, a breakdown of every month of their gross sales.
Yeah, they do, but
Right?
It's harder when there's nobody here.
Yeah.
Nobody comes in opposition or support. Yeah. Rural area sales are flat or very low. A couple of increasing, 2 out of the 4 increase, but since we issued these 2 other licenses, I guess they are in a different town, but 10 miles away in a driving community.
The, one of the protesters indicated based on the 2013 census, the population of Red Creek is 520.
Yeah, so I
it might
just
be
don't
at
see any-
522 right now.
I just don't see a added public convenience and advantage by adding this, so I vote to deny.
I vote to deny on the same grounds. There are 2 liquor stores within 5 miles. I think it's a very rural area. The population has not increased much, and the sales of the 2 closest, well, the sales of the 4 closest are at best flat. And we did 2 new licenses in 2013, and they're obviously still having an effect, so.
I just had one quick request.
I vote to deny. Don't tell me it was on that one.
No, it's no. For licensing board, I'd like to amend the last one you signed to add 1 member back on licensing board. It's one of our probationary employees. We took him off based on performance, but now he's back and
He got back in your good graces?
He's improving, so I'm going to add Jordan to the, you're
Okay.
good with that? I'm just going to
Okay.
amend the
Yes,
one we have,
yes.
so I don't have to have you re-sign it.
Yes.
Yes. We are
We are adjourned.